闇の時代を告げる鐘が遠くなり響く戦うと思うよ今君は死も恐れず瓦礫の街を染めて沈む夕日はくれない愛する星の未来を守るためもう神の刃人の愛祈りも込めて貫け立ち上がれ気高く前定めを受け出せ戦士よたとえ傷ついて力尽きても赤く燃え見事に散って星になった命よ時を超えその名前を胸に刻もう Just forever
Unfortunately, it wasn't due to the song, it was just because I was running around seeing if it would go up, and it did. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to night 5 or 6. Muv-Luv Alternative Heart Rate Monitor Edition. For some reason, I was able to go ahead and fix it, but it's still a little wonky. Like for right now, one monitor is 20 less. According to the guy that I talked to last night, just because the version I got was kind of cheap, the best one to go ahead and get is a quite a bit more expensive, unfortunately, and I don't really have the money for it right now. So yeah, we're going to have to deal with this, which may or may not be at least a tad broken. But it should stabilize as the night goes on. Apparently with more water and stuff like that, it actually stabilizes better. So the thing is, what that sucks with this one is I have to keep it moisturized. But yeah, so we'll just kind of keep it as is. I mean, there's not much I could really do. I can go ahead and try and reposition it, but honestly, like, I just wish it was a little more accurate, you know, but it's whatever. I hope that it will do a trick, at least up until I can grab and buy the new one. Like right now, I'm legit not doing anything. I'm sitting still, and it's not 104, so a little sucky in that regard, but until I can get enough money to go ahead and buy the new one, we're just going to have to go ahead and deal with this. So be it. Of course, also, it was working fine until stream started today. Right now, my heart rate should be 80. It's showing 93. Whatever. we're just going to have to deal with it. I mean, simple as. There's not much we really can do. I wish, like I said, I just wish this thing was a little bit more accurate, but so be it. I still think it's a really cool idea, and I'm glad I can get the widget to work, of course, but the accuracy of it's obviously the thing that's come into question. So yeah, I mean, so be it. Not much, like I said, that we could really do, but here's just hoping that we can go ahead and get some better results with it, and hopefully it'll stabilize. It looks like now it fell back to 83, so that seems about run for the... No, Fitbit's 20 under right now. Fitbit shows 79. So, yeah, like I said, I think it's just the quality of this is really cheap. And so until I can go ahead and get funds to get a better one, then, you know, there's not much that we could really go ahead and do. But, yeah, like I said, it's whatever. I can't just keep complaining about it. So, let's go ahead and just continue. So last night, obviously, we're in the middle of the conflict, and Yeah, now we're kind of surrounded, but Sagiri hasn't exactly collapsed on us just yet, so we're just going to go ahead and let sleeping dogs lie. Of course, everyone is very emotional right now. This is pretty painstaking in the sense that everyone has some sort of stake in it, but regardless, we got to go ahead and kind of calm things down. We're taking a squad leader's role, even though we probably have no right to do so. So we're going to go ahead and talk to the class rep next. I'm shooting my shooting your way, don't shoot. Heading your way, don't shoot. Sorry about that. What are you doing? Well, this is actually our first real battle, so I'm a little on edge. Figured I'd try and take a walk to clear my head. I see. She seems pretty tired. Even though we're on break, we're technically supposed to be on patrol, but she isn't nagging me about straying from my post. Of course, if we did have to rush all the way out here, after what happened to her dad, I could see now surrounded by enemies. Can't say I blame her. You doing okay? You seem pretty wore out. I already took my nutrients and stimulants. You're the one who doesn't seem to be holding up well. Not really. Anyways, nutrients are well and all, but just don't overdo it on stimulants. And Her Highness? She's got acute motion sickness. Doesn't help that she's probably been stressed and sleep deprived since this whole mess started. I don't think a little nap is going to do her that much good. I'm sorry, that's probably not something I should know, is it? Oh, right. The briefing they got didn't go into detail about the Shogun's condition at all. Maybe it was supposed to be classified? Oh, well. So get this. Your Highness, or Her Highness told me that she had TSF piloting experience. Did you know that? She said she had about 96 hours. That's way more than what even we got. Yeah, let me know if it changes. By the way, the whole heart rate thing right now, it should be stabilized. Anywhere from 79 to 85 is usually my my average whenever I'm streaming. So if it could stay between that range, then hopefully it means that it's stabilized, at least in part. Because 79 to 85 is usually what I get when I'm talking to people. Her Highness is the Supreme Military Commander. It's only natural she'd have some TSF experience. Really? Is it common knowledge like the Shogun undergoes piloting training? I mean, I guess it's sort of like the way nobles used to master horseback and sportsmanship, or swordsmanship, right? Well, yeah, obviously, but even then, most people couldn't last that long with a fortified suit, so she is something else. Yeah, she really is. Her voice is completely monotone and her expression weirdly stiff. Class rep's usually concerned about keeping up appearances, but I just don't even think she has the energy to care anymore. So did she have something that she wanted to say? Uh-oh. No, not really. I sure as heck can't tell her I was looking for someone to vent to. She'd just laugh at me. I'll be alright for now. I mean, I'm coping pretty well given the circumstances, if you say so. She says, despite being so exhausted, that she's relying on stimulants. Gotta keep up that tough girl facade, I guess. Being constantly on the run from the enemy like this would take its toll on anyone, though, especially since it's our first battle. And that's not even what to mention what happened to her dad. I remember being pretty nervous for my first mission, too. We were just on guard duty, but all that tension wore me out. You're starting to look like you don't believe me. No, it's not that. I'm just exhausted after all. Even when I'm trying to smile, it just doesn't happen. Maybe I'm not doing so hot. Let's see if I can guess what brought you here. What? You think because my father's murderer is out there, I can go berserk, so you try to come to cool me down. That's how she interpreted this? I guess I can't blame her, though. Considering the stuff I said before we left and the timing of it all, it's not hard to see how she jumped to that conclusion. Wrong. Try again. I heard the pause. Give me a break. I said I was tired, didn't I? Okay, then why are you here? I mean, no particular reason. Just felt it. Oh, I'm stupid. I didn't come here to argue. Then leave me alone. Alright, sheesh, don't get so angry. I mean, we're in the middle of the woods. Might as well have a good stretch, you know? Deep breaths. Stop telling me what to do. Oh, please. No one's telling you what to do. This is how you know a woman is not fine. Didn't I tell you to leave? I tell you to leave me alone? I said I'm fine, so I'm fine. Would you calm down? Get a hold of yourself. I'm done with you. I'd better leave it at that. I don't know if it's the exhaustion talking or she's taking way too many stimulants, but class rep is not clearly understanding her emotions right now. This conversation will not do either of us good. My bad, I'll just get out of your hair then. Sorry, sometimes I need to see my squad mates giving myself a little reassurance. Ayamine, it's me, Shirogane. Don't shoot, don't shoot! She does not look happy to see me. Hi. Can't blame her, though. I know about all of her connections to Captain Sagri, so it makes sense she'd just be on her guard. It'd be awkward to not bring him up at all, but I've got to make sure she doesn't think that's all I came to care about. I don't want to make this any harder on her than it already is. Man, even though we've been on such the run, I've got to say, real combat sucks. I feel like exhausted. The physical part, anyway. Didn't really hit me till we disembarked from the TSS, you know? How about you? How you holding up? You doing okay? No, you're unfazed. Unfazed? Me? How's Her Highness? How's Her Highness? Oh, right. Ayamine's a Japanese citizen, so like everyone else. It makes sense that she'd want to know. She has acute motion sickness, not really a surprise, getting tossed around a TSF. That wasn't mentioned at all in the briefing. Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be classified technically, but I figured it would be better for me to just clue you guys in. How's she feeling now? She's in pain, but her condition's stabilized at least. We can't really expect her to recover in an hour. The operation's only going to get tougher from here on out. You got that right. It feels a little weird that Ayamine is so concerned about the Shogun's well-being. Given how worried she seems, you would think that they're close friends, relatives, even though it's most likely that they've never met each other. I've never seen Ayamine act like this, not in her day-to-day life or even in the previous timeline. Not as far as I can remember, at least. It's that kind of devotion. Is that kind of devotion what I'm missing? Shouldn't you be there? Huh? With Her Highness? Right. Nah, Lieutenant Cameo's of the Royal Guards watching her right now. And it's not really my place to be taking care of Her Highness anyway. So that's why you can excuse walking around aimlessly. I mean, partially, though it's more that than I just can't seem to calm down into the adrenaline rush of a real battle. While it is true that I did want to check up on Ayamine, I also wanted someone to vent to, though I can't really tell her that. You really are unfazed, aren't you? You keep using that word, but I'm not sure what you mean by it. I don't have the capacity to care about anyone else right now, huh? But I promise you I'll be fine, even though he's here. What? No, I wasn't implying that at all. He's getting dabbed on by everyone. So, just leave me alone, alright? Ayamine, well, failed spectacularly. Maybe she could tell I was tiptoeing around the subject of Captain Sagari. Look, I wasn't trying to corner you, alright? It's just that, you know. Sorry, but I'm too tired for this. Let me sleep. Oh, okay. That's a crazy thing to hear coming from Ayamine, whether she's lying or not. Actually, I'm sure it's the truth. This is her first battle, so she's already feeling the pressure. Tack on an escort mission with an enemy in hot pursuit, plus the stuff with Sagari and class rep. Who wouldn't be a little overwhelmed? Ayamine never has let her feelings show, but look at her now. She's so exhausted she can't even keep up her nonchalant front. Right. I almost forgot, but a second back there I thought maybe Ayamine had something to do with them knowing our moves, even though I swore I would trust her. Hey, I owe you an apology. It's fine, just go. No, hear me out. This is about something else. After we left Hakone and the rebel forces seemed to be constantly 2 steps ahead of us, for a split second I suspected that you might have been leaking intel this whole time. I'm sorry, I know I promised that I'd trust you. Trust, but verify, huh? I can see why you'd honestly think that, but no, that's not why I'm here. In all honesty, I was just looking for someone to vent to. Then while I was talking to you, I remember that I felt felt like I needed to apologize for it. I appreciate your honesty. But I've got a lot on my own plate already. So I don't want to hear it right now. I just apologize out of habit, but she's right. My bad, this wasn't a good time to bring that up. I didn't even consider what she must be going through right now. I only apologized because I figured it would make me feel better. I could tell you're tired too, so get some rest. Sorry. There's nothing I could say to make it better. It's fine, just let me rest. Okay, that sucks. The UN in the Far East must really be short if there's any cadets. Whose voice is that? You got my sympathy, kid. This is tough, huh? Not really. That's Tama's voice. Who's she talking to?
私もね、まさか人間相手の作戦に駆り出されるなんて。
U.S. surface pilot. I mean, I never imagined I'd be set to fight other humans as well.
一度来てみたいと思ってたんだけど。
You know, I always wanted to visit Japan. Didn't think it'd go down like this. It's American TSF pilot, so the Americans are taking breaks now too.
すみません、少尉。こんなことになっちゃって。
I'm sorry, Second Lieutenant, that this is happening.
今は人間同士で戦っている場合じゃないのに。
I mean, we shouldn't be spending all this time fighting our own
どういう
kind.
こと？どうしてあなたが謝るの？
Why are you apologizing? Well, guess she must feel partially responsible because she's Japanese, and since she suspects her dad was the one who got the U.S. military involved, even though she doesn't know for sure, this incident would be putting everyone on the 207th flight in an awkward position. We're a ragtag band of cadets, Royal Guards, U.S. soldiers, and we're caught up in a conflict between the UN, Japan, and the United States. Being surrounded by so many conflicting viewpoints is tough, and even though it's far more stressful for Tama, given her father's part on all this. Are you Japanese?
はい。そうです。
Yeah, Lieutenant, that'd be correct.
なるほど。そういうことか。
That explains it then.
じゃあ、なおのことつらいか。同胞に銃を向けるんだから、ね。
Well, this lady seems nice. This must be really hard on you then, having to take arms against your own people.
任務ですから。
Well, it's my duty. I see. I'm really impressed with how mature that U.S. soldiers being about all this. Sure, the American government got ulterior motives, but these pilots never asked to be dragged into this petty rebellion, and now they've already lost comrades in the fighting. You think they would at least be ready to take a swing at us by now, at least mutter a few nasty words. And yet, the only one actually comforting them is Tama. I'm from Finland. Huh? From Finland? She's not American, but in the U.S. Army? How does that work? America hasn't suffered a lot of casualties, so women haven't even been affected by the draft yet. I don't even think they've lowered their drafting age yet. I'm a war refugee. You see, my country's already long gone. I don't even know what to say. Oh, it's okay. Don't even worry about it. Oh, I remember. In this world, all of Europe was completely wiped out about 7 or 8 years ago, given the exception of Britain. Well, football really has no choice but to come home now. But if you're from Finland, why enlist with the Americans?
まずアメリカの市民権を取得するためね。
Two reasons. One, I could gain American citizenship. Citizenship?
そう。戦災難民が市民権を得るには軍に入って除隊まで勤め上げるしか方法がないのよ。
Right, the only way for war refugees to gain citizenship is to serve in the military unit until they're formally discharged. That's how it used to be too with the Mayor's Philbin Act.
戦災難民からの志願兵、お偉いさん方を除いてね。
In fact, most of the soldiers deployed here are volunteer war refugees like myself, other than the top brass. What? Wait a second, so out of all the American forces here, the only Americans are Major Walken and the other higher-ups? Maybe I'm being naive, but I'm struggling to wrap my head around the thought of sending a whole unit of foreign refugees at the front lines. So it's not I know it's not my place to judge, but is a U.S. citizenship really worth risking your life for, even knowing they sent you out here to keep Americans off the front? Woo, this hits me a little bit different. Oh, man. Not going to go into personal history, but that is a question, Takaru. Mr. Shirogane, that is a question that I ask myself at least a few times a week.
あの地獄、ヨーロッパから生きて逃げ出せただけでも随分贅沢なことなんだけど、私が市民権を取れば家族を難民キャンプから出してあげられるからね。
I'm already extremely lucky to have made it out of Europe alive, or what was left of it anyway, but if I get citizenship, then I'll be able to get my family out of the refugee camps. So that's it. America may be mostly unharmed by all this, but even though they don't have the resources to give all the refugees the same quality of life, Captain Sagari talked about how awful the refugee camps in Japan were during his broadcast. I can't see American camps being much different. So that's what she needs citizenship for, eh? Makes sense. Did your family make it out too?
母と妹はね、父は国軍に志願して北カレリア戦線で行方不明。多分もう死んじゃってると思うけど。
My mom and little sister did. My dad was enlisted in the Finnish armed forces, but he went MIA in North Karelia. He's probably dead.
すみません。私余計なことを。
I'm sorry, then I shouldn't have asked.
もう 今時珍しい話じゃないんだから、いちいち気にしないの。家族4人のうち3人助かったなんて奇跡よ。
Come on now, don't worry about it. Everyone's got a story like that nowadays. I mean, the fact that we even got out and made it alive is a
ごめ
miracle.
んなさい。
I'm
で
sorry.
ね、入隊のもう一つの理由がそれ。
But that's the other reason why I decided to enlist. Which is...
敵討ちってわけじゃないけど、父がそうしたように、私もベータと戦って家族を守りたい。
Wow! I have definitely related... I don't think I've related to a character this much in this VN yet. I actually like this lady. It's not to avenge him or anything, but I do want to protect my family by fighting the beta, just like my father did. Just like your
それで
father.
いつかあいつらをヨーロッパから追い出して
Dang.
家族を再建するの。
I like this lady a lot. I really hope nothing bad happens to her. She seems like very noble and set in her ways. Top class, top class. Someday, once we've retaken Europe, and I'll help rebuild Finland, land my father and fathers before him fought so hard to protect.
でね、私たちの家があった場所に父のお墓を建てて、そのそばで家族一緒に暮らしたいの。
Sparto Spargo, no. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go back to where our old house used to be. I want to make a new grave for my father, and I want to start a new life with a new family.
ところで、あなたの家族は無事なの？
What about your family? Are they okay?
はい。パパと2人です。ママは私が小さい頃病気で死んじゃいました。
Question for the chat. When I laugh, did my heart rate go up? Is it at least accurate enough to where it's stabilizing on whether or not if I make any sort of like emotional thing that it responds? Oh yes, it's just me and my dad. Cool. Maybe it is stabilizing a little bit then. It's just me and my dad. My mom got sick and passed away when I was little.
そう。お気の毒に。
My condolences.
いえ、私は最後までママのそばにいることができましたから、少尉に比べれば贅沢なことです。
Yeah, I mean, that's a good test run. Honestly, I'll only go ahead and check it. Like, I kind of don't even want to play with it anymore. We'll just go ahead and let the heart monitor be. Like I said, it's probably not the accurate version just because I can't afford right now the best version. But if it's good enough to where I could, you know, sense that I'm laughing or feeling some sort of emotion, then it'll probably be at least a decent enough read. And like I said, I'm hooked to another one too. So we could always go ahead and check back. And moments that are pretty crazy, we can check back. But I'm going to stop messing with it for now. Just let it be. So that's okay. I was able to be by her side in her final moments. So it was nothing compared to what you went through, Lieutenant.
また、さっきから気にしないでって言ってるのに。もしかしてそれ、日本人特有のリアクション？
There you go again. I keep telling you to quit acting all apologetic about everything. Is that just a thing with Japanese people?
すみません。
Sorry. I didn't know that Tama's mom had an illness. No wonder her father so
私、イル
doting.
マ。イルマ・テスレフ。あなたは？
I'm Irma Thesleff, and you are...
田瀬美希。ミキ田瀬です。
Tamase Miki, or Miki Tamase.
か。こんなこと言ったら失礼だけど、フィンランドだと男の子に間違えられる名前ね。
Miki, huh? This is gonna sound rude, but that's a boy's name in Finland.
男の子ですか？なんか複雑ですね。
It's a boy's name? I don't really know how to feel about
ねえ
that.
ミッキー、いつか人類がベータに勝って
Wait, why is she
私
so
が経験
nice?
されたら、お父さんと一緒にフィンランドにいらっしゃい。
She's
私が招待するから。
protect, man. This is a nice lady here. Until we find out that she's actually part beta. Hey Miki, once we beat the beta and Finland can start to rebuild, you should come visit with your father and I'll show you my country.
本当ですか？私絶対行きます。
Isn't Finland really far away?
確かに遠いけど、ソビエトを挟んで一つ隣じゃない。日本に一番近いヨーロッパなのよ。
It is, but the Soviet Union's the only thing between here and Finland. It's the closest part of Europe to Japan.
そうだったんですか？日本のことまで知ってるなんて。イルマ少尉すごいです。
Really? You know so much about Japan too. You are amazing, Lieutenant
宿
Irma.
敵だったロシアを任したことのある唯一の国だから、多くのフィンランド人は日本に親近感と興味を持っているの。
That's a good point. The Russia's in a war. Japan's the only country who's ever really defeated Russia, which is a long-standing adversary of ours. Also true. A lot of us Finns feel a bit of kinship.
それにお互い第二次世界大戦の敗戦国だしね。
Not to mention we both kind of lost World War II.
ミキはフィンランドのことはあまり知らないので恥ずかしいです。
Now I feel embarrassed that I don't know a lot about Finland.
だからこそミキには来てほしいのよ。いい？約束よ。
All the more reason for you to come visit. How about it? Promise? I have a feeling that promise isn't going to come true. I
だか
promise.
ら早く終わらせようね。人間同士の戦いもベータとの戦いも。
But for that to happen, we need to hurry up and get this over with. The human infighting, the war against the beta.
その時までお互い絶対死なない。
Famous last words. Before that's all over, neither of us are allowed to die.
よし。じゃあ行くね。そろそろ交代の時間だから。
Good, well I'm gonna get going. It's time for my shift.
はい。少尉、お話できて楽しかったです。
Okay, it was a lot of fun talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
私もよ。約束忘れないで。
I had fun too. Never forget our promise. Okay. She joined a foreign military in the hopes of retaking her homeland and rescuing her family. That's what she put her life on the line for. In a way, she's almost like her own pillar of strength. Just how Japanese find strength in the Shogun. I can't get away from the concept.
タケルさん、どうしたの？
What are you doing here? Oh, I was just wandering to try and clear my voice, clear my head and I heard your voice.
もしかしてずっと見てたの？
Did you watch the whole time? I think I came partway through, but it didn't really feel right to interrupt. Sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop.
別に謝ることじゃないですよ。
You don't have to apologize. She seemed like a really great person. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but it seems like the American army has all sorts of people in it too, eh? After everything that's happened, I couldn't help but feel some sort of animosity towards American forces. But the individual pilots on the front lines aren't any different from you or I. And if nothing else, she was at least talking to Tama as a sympathetic, considerate human being, not as a superior officer. Whoa, whoa, hey, what's wrong? Hey.
自分の命も危ないのに、私のこと気遣って励ましてくれて。
She's in just as much danger as me, and yet she was still trying to be so kind, trying to cheer me up.
自分の国がなくなっちゃって、家族や死んじゃったお父さんのために戦ってるのに。
Even though she's lost her country, she's still fighting for her family and for her father.
フィンランドを取り戻すために戦ってるのに。
She's still fighting to take back Finland.
なのに、私のパパがあの人たちを巻き込んじゃったのかもしれないんだよ。
And yet my dad might be responsible for sending her to begin with.
パパはいつも言ってた。日本を守るためには
Dad always
家族の
said
力が必要だって。
that we need the U.S. military to keep Japan safe. Her dad said that? But I mean, that's true. In terms of firepower, we're better off with their help. Especially in circumstances like this. If the beta chose to move south today, they can completely obliterate that far east defense line. Even if you're right, doesn't that just go to show that he's trying really hard to help save Japan and the rest of humankind? Besides, the Americans deployed their fleet out here knowing full well what was going to happen. They planned on intervening no matter what. Back in Command Center, the Undersecretary was trying to get the U.S. military brought in as soon as possible. Ultimately, he did get his wish, but still, even Yuko acknowledged that he was only acting with Japan in Alt 4's best interest. I can't tell Tama any of that, but...
タケルさん、私、
Uh-oh. I'm scared, huh?
もしかしたら、このクーデターも、
Dang, she's putting on her tinfoil
た
hat.
めにパパが、
What if this coup was something Dad used as an excuse to bring in the Americans?
脚本を用意したのはおそらく国連上層部のオルタネイティブ5推進派と CIA でしょう。
I did put it together before, but she's right. It could be possible. If your voice to be believed, then what if her dad was one of the higher-ups he was referring to? The Undersecretary's Tomasi's actions, they would directly interfere with Alternative 4. But that would also mean that he's in collaboration with Alternative 5. I thought he wanted Alternative 4 to be completed. There's no way he would just...
もしそうだったら、私、どうすればいいの？
What am I supposed to do if it's true?
だって、榊さんのお父さんがあんなことになっちゃったのも、殿下がこんな目に遭ってるのも。
Wouldn't that mean that what happened to Sakaki's dad and Her Highness is going...
みんなの命が危険にさらされているのも、極東の防衛線が崩壊しそうなのも、
to put everyone in danger and the Far East defense line being compromised?
全部パパが関わっていたら。
That would make that my dad's fault. Stop, that's enough. Even if any of that were true, he'd only have done it if it meant increasing Japan and humanity's chances of survival. I mean, I'm blowing smoke here. If that's actually what he was going for, he's an idiot. That's all speculation, right? I say, it's not exactly baseless, but that's not what she needs to hear right now. This whole situation is really stressful, so you're probably just overthinking things and getting stressed over nothing. I mean, it's our first mission and we've been chased all over the place by loads of enemies, and now they've got us surrounded. Of course, anyone would be stressing Tama. But pull yourself together here. You could die. And if you go down, if any one of us gets killed, the entire squad would be wiped out. Didn't you make a promise to that pilot? You've got to survive until the beta are dead so you can go visit Finland, right? If you ever want that to happen, you need to focus on getting through this mission. We can worry about the rest after we make it home safely when this is done, okay? Okay. Doesn't look like that did much to boost her confidence, but there's nothing else to be said. My convictions aren't strong enough for me to preach. I don't know how to feel about all this any more than she does. I'm just gonna go. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I'm sorry if that didn't come out right. It's okay, I'm sorry too. That second lieutenant sure was something, and I don't think it was a matter of her having experience. I'm just pathetic in comparison, aren't I? I'm gonna get going. Let's make this out alive, alright? Mikoto should be the least affected here, but that doesn't assume she doesn't know about what her dad does. In reality, she might just be under as much pressure as everyone else. What's been bugging me is how withdrawn she's been since this coup started. I'd like to think that she's being considerate of everyone else and she's worried about her father in the capital. Takeru, come here. It's really nice to see you still acting this way under these circumstances, but... you seem a little too perky right now. How many antidepressants are you on? You think so? I don't feel any different than usual, which is what concerns me. You seem down. Are you tired? I'm exhausted, and seeing you this up speed only makes it 10 times worse. That's so mean. You're supposed to say that your smile's contagious or something. Oh no, only a lunatic would say that in this situation. There's a time and a place. This isn't that time. Come again? A time and a what? You sure you're not pretending to be okay? No, of course not. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but... there's nothing wrong with trying to force a smile into your face. I admire that about you, but right now you'd be better off letting it out. Don't feel like you have to be happy just because I'm around. That defeats the whole purpose of taking a break. I'm not forcing myself. Really? Alright, then I'll head back then. You're leaving already? I don't want to keep you from resting, so I'll see you later. But I mean, you're here already. Why don't we talk some more? As long as you promise you're not going to keep forcing a smile. Okay. I really don't have the energy to be reading between the lines right now, so it'll be a lot easier on both of us if you're just straight with me. Sorry, it's just that you're the one who had to actually escort Her Highness, you know? So I figured you'd be feeling a lot more exhausted than the rest of us, with the extractive responsibility. Well, I have another person's life in my hands. I can't really allow to think of myself to think with fatigue. I gotta stay alive to ensure her own safety. I get what you mean. I appreciate you worrying about me, but I think you guys are probably just as tired as I am. I probably felt that way less pressure from having the Shogun riding with me than anyone else. In fact, having someone there in the cockpit with me actually made things easier overall. I'm worried about Her Highness, but I know I'm not supposed to ask about her. Mikoto too, huh? Guess it really is a Japanese person thing in this world. Even though all their lives are at risk, they're more worried about the Shogun, and it's not a result of the psychological training we underwent to combat fear of death, either. If anything, their fight-or-flight response is probably making them more worried about the Shogun's safety, since she's the biggest source of strength. They didn't mention it in the briefing, so this is probably supposed to be classified, but Her Highness does have some acute motion sickness. You can't tell me that. At least now... at least now you won't have to worry yourself sick about any more scenarios, right? But still. Besides, it makes it easier on me if you guys already know about it. And you can't unhear it at this point, so I guess that makes us partners in crime, huh? Alright, fine. So how's Her Highness doing right now? She's getting tossed about in a TSF cockpit at full speed without even wearing a fortified suit, and she's never complained a single time. She's stronger than she looks, in both mind and in body. I suggested we stop when I saw her getting worse, but that just made her upset. She told me not to let any more lives go to waste. As for her current condition, she's stable but not doing so hot. A little rest isn't going to be enough for her to fully recover. I don't know what the Major and the others are planning, but her condition probably is going to get even worse when we move out again. We're going to stay strong then, yeah. Takaru, thank you. Well, where's this coming from? I'm glad you're here. I got the feeling that things would be a whole lot different if you weren't. If you mean that in terms of piloting skills, I disagree. All of our TSFs are... Well, of course the new OS has helped us all improve, but I'm not sure how to say this. I normally wouldn't say this, but you're just so dependable. It's like ever since you came to the academy, you just excelled at everything. That's not fair to you guys, though. The only reason why I'm better is because I've gone through it once before. Not to mention how you determined you are and the way you handle situations. It's really mature. You're like a veteran. I mean, I technically do have 2 to 3 years more experience than you guys because I've been rag-tagged along in the multiverse like a doll in the hands of God. And the previous time when I was the one holding everyone else back. Just having you around makes me feel a lot more at ease. I don't have that advantage anymore, though. Hell, I'm not supposed to be determined to save humanity, and I can't even get my old feelings worked out. I'm sure everyone else in the squad feels the same. That is something that I'm gonna go ahead and take note of. The scene's like one of those scenes in a war drama before the main character dies. Don't jinx us here. What? There's that Makoto laugh I know so well. Maybe there's some benefit in me coming here after all. Though it certainly didn't help my anxiety and frustration. I should be going. Sorry for holding you up. Bye now. Make good use of the rest of your time. Take care of her. I will. Huh? Second Lieutenant Camille. She must be someone else's turn to guard Her Highness. I've been looking for you. This may be a break, but but for you to be wandering aimlessly during a situation like this just would speak volumes about the UN's military. Sorry. Feels weird to be talking to her like she's a superior. It matters not. Come with me. Her Highness has summoned you. What? Your Highness, I have returned with Shirogane and Takaru. You may leave us. Yes. Thank goodness, she looks a lot better now. Complexion's starting to improve. Letting her lie down must have sped up the recovery. Shirogane, come here. Okay. How should I position myself? Be at ease. Like, do I get down on one knee? Sorry, excuse me. I guess I could just sit down. Forgive my manners for speaking to you in this way, but it's quite difficult to sit upright. It's okay, I'm not that good with etiquette. It doesn't bother me. You truly are an intriguing man. Sorry about that. I'm the one who should be apologizing. My lack of fortitude has caused you such needless hardship. But not at all, Your Highness. You've held up incredibly well. To be honest, I'm genuinely impressed by your physical and mental strength. Even with a fortified suit on, I wouldn't have made a difference without her existing feedback data. I'm amazed she survived as long as she did. Endured. Sorry. I'm glad to hear you have said that. It's only the truth, but in any case, what did you need to see me for? Kamio has informed me of the situation. I was hoping to speak with you a bit before our time's up. Of course, not sure if I'll be much help, though. It's not like I have much of a say in planning out the rest of the operation. If I wasn't talking to her right now, I'd probably just be sitting by myself mulling over things I'd rather not think about. Going to see the others didn't really help. If anything, it made me more stressed out. It's nice to be able to talk to somebody who isn't quite so directly involved with the mission itself. How are you feeling? Are you tired? To be honest, it's starting to wear me down, yeah. I don't think anyone could blame you for that. You're but a cadet and you've been assigned to a taxing operation. I mean... Words cannot express how sorry I am for placing you cadets at the forefront of a debacle, even if it did shield the capital. Hey, we're just doing our duty as agents of the UN. You don't need to worry about us. On the other hand, with that fortified suit and the exceptional piloting skills, I would not have taken you for a cadet. Had not Tsukiyomi mentioned you by name. Sorry for not making that clear. They're always low on the white fortified suits for male cadets, so they just entered me a standard one. After the beta invaded Japan, the IJF started conscripting women and lowering the draft age. But by the time the UN forces were stationed here, everyone was pretty much female. The soldiers back on the base all make fun of me for it because it makes it look like I got demoted and forced to repeat basic training again. Is that so? But you pilot with such a uniquely perceptive understanding of your craft. I doubt many UN soldiers can match your skills, commissioned or not. But really? I don't know. You're giving me too much credit. I now understand why Yoroi chose you to be my escort. Well, thank you for that. It is I who should be thanking you. You have my sincerest gratitude. No need to thank me. I'm just doing my duty. Your duty? Are you sure? Well, yeah. By rights, your ability should only be used to deal with mankind's true adversary, the beta. That's your only duty. That doesn't apply to you alone, but it does for every soldier and resource being spent on the conflict. Is it not a tragedy that we stand to lose so much in a manner such as this? What's she trying to say? Could it be that Her Highness, that the Japanese head of state, is on the same wavelength as myself? To be honest, I really do think it makes sense for the UN to be stepping in. After all, ensuring Japan's governmental stability is in the interest of all four. But it's still not what I would consider ideal. In all honesty, I can't still stand the fact that we're wasting our time. Because personally, I only want to spend my time on whatever's most beneficial to mankind as a whole. And to be fair, I'm sure all these various countries and organizations wrapped in this mess do think they're probably acting in humanity's best interest. And until we get rid of the beta, we don't really have a future. I'm sure everyone knows that, regardless of what side they're on. No thank you, Mr. Bot. That goes for the Japanese government, the UN, the US, the rebels, myself, my squad, and obviously Her Highness. I'm pretty sure every single one of us is fully aware of what we're going up against here. But if that's the case, why is this even happening? Well, we all share a mutual objective, but I don't think it's just a case of differing values causing different methodologies. What if our clashing methodologies are what prevents us from choosing our true objective? There's something I have been pondering now. What's with the sudden change of topic? Because I never answered the question? Why hesitate to administer me the triazolone? I never thought Her Highness would try to broach the topic. It's something I didn't really want to talk about. It goes right to the heart of the uncertainty I'm feeling right now. In fact, it's what made me realize I had doubts in the first place. I may not have been fully conscious, but I did hear the argument between Tsukiyomi and the American commanding officer. Do you not think that the American commander's opinion was justified given the circumstance? No, I do. I do think the Major made the best possible call in terms of completing the mission efficiently. Even if it happened to prioritize American interest, it was also the most realistic way to bring a swift end to all of this Japanese infighting. Since preventing humanity's defeat is my ultimate objective, it seemed the ideal course of action.
そなたはあれの言葉をどう受け取りましたか?
And what of Tsukiyomi's opinion? How did you feel about her suggestion? From my point of view, Tsukiyomi's argument sounded more emotionally charged and less coldly logical. Kind of felt like she was giving pride and honor so much weight that she wasn't able to keep an open mind. But even so, I can't disagree with any individual point she made, especially when you consider the duty she's devoted her life to. She was in the right.
双方正しかったのであれば、そなたは何故アメリカ軍の将校ではなく、
If you think
強みの言葉に従ったのですか?
If you think they were both in the right, then why'd you obey Tsukiyomi's and not the American? Because Major Walken's orders didn't sit well with me. I mean, I didn't exactly obey Tsukiyomi either, I just hesitated. She happened to get her way. As a soldier, I'm supposed to consider my superior's orders to be absolute, so why didn't I? Was it because I just don't like how the US is handling things?
本州を奪還し、国連とのさらなる関係強化が国の基本政策となって以降、手段が目的を凌駕することが日常化し、政府や軍は本来あるべき姿を見失っているように見える。政府は民をないがしろにし、将軍家を傀儡に貶めた。己の都合や利益のみを考える輩が国を蝕んでいるのだ。そこから民を、将軍家を、そして国を救い出そうというのが彼ら決起部隊の考えだ。
Or could it be that I'm actually feeling sympathetic now towards Sagari's cause?
まずは A 点を通して戦争を終わらせるべきだと。人間同士のいざこざなんて、その後好きなだけやればいい。
理解できぬのなら足ざまに断じるでない。
This is hopeless. I'm just thinking in circles. If there was something I could figure out on my own, I would have found my answer a long time ago. For now, I've decided to just focus on keep getting through this. I have to move forward, so don't force me to keep thinking about it.
無理に答えずともよい。
You don't need to be compelled to answer
白
that.
がね、そなたはその優れた資質ゆえに、いつか人の上に立つこともあるでしょう。
I think that fine temperament of yours will one day make you an astounding leader.
人の
Me?
上に立つということは、多くの責任を背負い、多くの決断を下さねばならぬということです。
To lead others is to bear a great many responsibilities and to cast judgment on all matter of disputes.
国家や組織は、そのよって立つところが違えば、おのおのに理想や信念が異なるもの。
When different governments and organizations take varying positions on the same issue, it's because they have differing ideals.
それは人も同じです。何かなそうとすれば、必ずそれを良しとする者と悪しとする者がいるでしょう。
In that respect, we are no different. With any action a person takes, there will inevitably be some who see it as right and others who see it as wrong.
それぞれの立場に立って、物を見ることができれば、おのおのがよりどころとする正しさも見えて
But
き
if you
ま
are
す。
capable of seeing an issue from every angle, you'll be able to understand each justification behind the point of view. After all that I've been through, I can say with confidence that I know how hard that is, especially this time around when all of those different viewpoints keep popping up left and right.
そして、悲しいことですが、それらすべての者たちの望みを満たす道が、
And unfortunate
常
though it may
にそな
be,
たの前にあるとは限りません。
there will not always be a simple path laid out for you which satisfies the wishes of all
その
parties.
時そなたは、何によって決断し、どのような道をかの者たちに指し示
And at
すのか。
sometimes, what is it that you base your decision on? Based on what? What dictates which path you select for your subordinates? Your own convictions. You lean on your core beliefs. That's what she's gonna get at.
もしそなたに迷いがあったなら、原点を顧みること、立ち止まる勇気を持つのです。
If you find yourself hesitating in such situations, you must have the courage to stop and reflect upon what it is that made you who you are today. I knew it. It's not like I don't have a reason to fight. I swore I'd save all mankind, didn't I? Nothing could possibly be more important than that, and yet here I am spinning my wheels like an idiot.
そして、自らの手を汚すことを厭うてはならないのです。
But most of all, you must never hesitate to bloody your own hands. Bloody my own
道
hands?
を指し示そうとする者は、背負うべき責務の重さから目を背けてはならないのです。
Those who would venture to indicate which path their subordinates should take must never shy away from the weight of their own responsibility.
私はあの時、流れに身を委ねたわけでも、己が死をもって責任を果たそうとしたわけでもありません。
When I spoke up, I was not merely submitting to the Major's authority, nor was I resigning myself to the death atonement of my
私の信
sins.
じる正しさに従い、トリアゾラムの投与が最良と判断したのです。
I simply decided that administering the triaslam was the best course of action based on my own morality. In a sense, I betrayed that old woman at Mount Tengen, but at the same time, I believed that the decision I made was in the interest of the greater good. I justified it to myself by saying I didn't want to waste what little time we had before Alt-5's implementation, but I really believe that, if I really thought saving every possible second matters above all else, I should have given her the Tri-Iceland, but I couldn't do it. Could it be that I didn't want to have to do the dirty work myself? Is that what she's getting at? Was I just afraid of having blood on my hands? That's all I wish to say. I apologize for interrupting. You can return to your post. I was too afraid to do the dirty work myself, huh? That's probably had something to do with it. No, it really did. It wasn't just that she was Meia's sister. It was that she was a living, breathing human being. I couldn't make a decision that might end up ending putting her blood on my hands. You may leave now if you wish. And even though there was a chance that old lady at Mount Tengen would die in the relocation, I knew I wouldn't have to be the guy forcing her out of her home at gunpoint. This whole time I've been blaming myself on my lack of conviction, but that's a cop-out. It's not a matter of experience or know-how. Even if you have a ton of bolts, you can't bear the thought of doing something yourself. You don't deserve responsibility. I can't make any real decisions. Is there something you want to speak to me about? No, sorry, there isn't. I shouldn't waste your time. I should head back to my post. Do not lie to me. Do you think I'm unperceptive? Huh? I wasn't trying to insult her. How can you say it's nothing when you wear such a stern look? I may not be in charge of anybody, but I have been put in a position where I can greatly influence the future of humanity. Since Her Highness has an entire country resting on her shoulders, I just might benefit from talking this out. But can I really impose on her? Imagine my heart rate just skyrocket when the song comes on. Oh my god, this song! This song is too good. Why be modest now after all that's happened? No one has ever interacted with me in a manner as familiar as yours. I had a feeling that's what she meant. I'm sorry. It's fine. I find your informality quite pleasant. Yeah, Meiya told me the same thing too, come to think of it. I would imagine that's why Meiya also feels comfortable letting her guard down around you. A lot of the stuff that's considered common knowledge in this world is totally foreign to me. That's because that's my biggest weak point when I came here. But see, because of that, I also didn't know whether or not Meiya was related to the Shogun, so I didn't have any trouble getting close to her. After all you've done for both of us, you wouldn't let me repay the favor, if only a little? This idea of imposing on the Shogun herself is really awkward. This will start to rub off on me too a little, eh? But I might never have the chance to talk about someone who bears such a huge responsibility. I feel like if I don't take this opportunity, I could regret it. For some reason, I think the two of us can only have a frank conversation without the risk of misunderstanding. Am I truly unable to offer you assistance? Okay, if you insist. I know this might sound weird coming from a military cadet, but I'm feeling conflicted by what I think is a lack of patriotism for my own country. I do think I understand why Captain Sagri would go so far as to cause an uprising in order to bring change to Japan, but I can't see why he'd just choose to do it now. To be honest, I feel like there's something much bigger at stake here than all of that. And that is exactly what you said a moment ago. We should be focusing our strength on defeating the Beta. That's not all I'm trying to say, though. I mean, I don't know, but I don't feel like it's the sort of thing you can make sweeping generalizations about either. This is so frustrating. If only I could tell her everything that's happened. There's nothing wrong with being concerned about Japan's future, but couldn't I at least wait until the beta's done? If humanity loses, there's not going to be a future for Japan. A 5-year-old could understand that. True. And yet we still out here, we got America and the UN advancing their own agendas. At the very least, they're clearly not making much of an effort to genuinely unify humanity at all against the beta. And yet, none of them are even acknowledging that we still are, or they know what we're going up against, and none of them are even acknowledging that we're at the face of a total extinction of our race. They can't even imagine what losing to the beta will mean for us as a species. It's all just hypothetical to them, you know? And that's not good enough for me. They have to understand that we could be defeated at literally any moment unless we take action against the beta now. Why is this so hard to get across? Please try to calm down. Oh, I didn't mean to turn into a ranter. Guess I've been bottling this up for a long time. I think that was kind of a tangent, and yet she listened, even though I'm sure she's still probably a little sick. I never I think I'm actually feeling a little bit better now. Never underestimate the value of having someone to vent to. This might be the first time I felt a sense of release. One question though. Yeah, sure. What makes you think you lack patriotism? Maybe you already know this, but everyone in my squad has unique baggage. Tsukiyomi would have told Her Highness who Meia's squad mates were. Oh well. They're all girls except me. Every one of them has some sort of connection to the country's national affairs, if not directly. We're all enlisted in the UN military, but every time I talk to them, I could tell how strongly they feel about Japanese roots. When Meia saw the news about the rescue effort at Mount Tengen, she was furious about the way they ignored the will of the people. We got into an argument. When this uprising first broke out, I said this wasn't time for petty infighting, and somebody told me I sounded like an American sympathizer. That someone was Tsukiyomi. They felt like I didn't care enough, like I wasn't worried enough about my own country. If Tsukiyomi thought I was talking like a US sympathizer, or that I possibly didn't care about Japan's affairs, it's possible I'd sound that way to any Japanese person in the world, even my own squad mates. So I started thinking about what might give people the impression of me, and wondering if I just see the world on a fundamentally different level. So you think that the difference between you and your squad mates stems from their sense of patriotism? Well, you could call it conviction or a set of core beliefs, but I can't tell her about everything that I've experienced. That's probably close enough. I think that deep familial ties they have to Japan as a nation might be a big part of why they're so strong. Let's see, hopefully the heart rate's accurate, and my heart rate should at least be above 85. You say they have deep familiar ties with this country. What might those be? You mean she doesn't know? Tsukiyomi would have... I guess Her Highness had been briefed out the members of Meia's squad. She would have known about me. She's given no indication of it. Was not telling her any intentional move on Tsukiyomi's part? Did she just not see a reason to, considering there's almost zero likelihood of this ever happening? You already know about Meia, but we've got daughters of the UN Undersecretary, Tamase. We've got an ex-IJ, General Ayamine, and Chief Yoroi. My goodness, they truly do have deep connections. You'd have to be pretty in the know to be aware of that, but I guess it makes sense. She was in the Imperial Palace just until recently. They probably just briefed her in on all this. Guess she doesn't connect the dots as to how our squad tied into it. I can hardly believe that Yoroi's own daughter was involved. That's not all, though. We've also got the daughter of the late Prime Minister Sakaki. The genuine shock on her face? She hasn't been told anything about our squad. So yeah, since everyone here's tied to a debacle in one way or another, it's like walking on eggshells. That's understandable given the circumstances. And yet the squad's still functioning normally. I think that's got less to do with our military training and more to do with this deep-seated patriotism they all have. Was this really a good idea? I don't know about Tama or Ayamine's dads, but Her Highness definitely knows Chief Yoroi and Prime Minister Sakaki. It can't be easier to know their daughters are out there fighting to protect her. Maybe I shouldn't have brought up Class Rep's dad after all. What was that even going to accomplish other than giving this exhausted woman yet another thing to worry about? Shirogane, I have something to ask you. Okay, what? Gather everyone here. What? Everyone? Everyone. UN forces, US troops, Imperial Royal Guard. She wants to rally the troops? Is she going to apologize to everyone? Hey, I know we're on break, and it might be tricky to gather everyone here. I'm a cadet. I don't have authority to... Tell the American commander I made the order. You can do that much, right? I can relay the message, but... There's no time. Haste. Okay, I'll get going then. Salute. Your Highness, I'm most honored to have this audience with you. I am Major Alfred Walken of the United States 66th and commanding officer of this mission. Tsukiyomi's guards Tsukiyomi's guarding Her Highness, and lieutenants are patrolling the area. Lieutenant Kamiya must be on high alert on the TSF. The one missing American surface pilot is probably doing the same. Her Highness did say to gather everyone, but I guess even during a ceasefire we can't be totally defenseless. Major Walken, I apologize for summoning you all here in the midst of such an emergency.
数名の者を保証の任に当てておりますことをお許しください。
I regret that I was unable to fully comply with your request. Forgive me for leaving a small number of men on
気
my
になさらぬ
duty.
がよい。そなたの任務は理解しているつもり
There's
です。
no need. I'm well aware of the duties entrusted to
は
you.
ご後輩恐れ入ります。
I'm thankful for your understanding. Everyone's on edge right now, not that I can blame them. They may be UN military cadets, but they're still Japanese. To see the Shogun like this is like probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But Maya would also volunteer to remain in her TSF. Rima wouldn't allow it because of her lack of experience, but she did send her out on foot patrol instead. She was being considerate considering the relationship. I know Maya wants to stay true to the family customs, but couldn't you not make an exception like this? For a time like this?
こたびの我が国に対するアメリカ軍の尽力。日本国将軍として
Major
心より
Vulcan,
の謝意を表します。
as the Imperial Shogun of Japan, I wish to express my gratitude for what the U.S. Armed Forces have done today. Her Highness is bowing to the Major?
なんと恐れ多い。殿下、そのような。
Your Highness, no, you don't need to do this. This is crazy, but for the Shogun to lower her head to an ordinary officer?
そして、すべてのアメリカ軍将兵の献身と義勇に、日本国将軍として、
I also wish to express my gratitude as the Imperial Shogun of Japan to all of your men with the astounding dedication and bravery. Not the Major, but all the surface pilots too? Is this why she had me summon
冒
everyone?
険少佐、そなたの部下と話をしても構いません。
Major Walken, may I say a few words to your subordinates? They're exchanging puzzled glances at one another, and they must be pretty confused about the situation. I think they recognize just how meaningful it is for the Shogun to bow her head, though.
恐れながら殿下、そのお言葉を賜っただけで
Those
十分です。
words alone are more than enough.
世界秩序と国連協調体制の維持に邁進することは、人類社会の一員である我が合衆国に課せられた責務であります。
Facing adversity for the sake of the world order and the unity of all nations is simply the duty entrusted to us, both as human beings and as citizens of the U.S.
そして私たちは合衆国に忠誠を誓った軍人。与えられた任務を達成することに全身全霊を傾けるのみであります。
Furthermore, as soldiers who have sworn our loyalty to the United States, we are simply devoted to the completion of our mission. Nothing more, nothing less. What the Major is saying right now sounds more like an empty formality at this point. We all know how he really feels, after all. But to be fair, what's happening in Japan right now definitely isn't helping maintain world order, unify humanity. There is no denying that.
我が作戦部隊は必ずや殿下を無事に横浜基地までお連れいたします。
The forces under my control will ensure that you arrive safely at
お許しい
Yokohama.
ただけるのであれば、私の部下へのねぎらいはその折に賜りたいと存じます。
If it pleases your highness, I ask that you refrain from extending your gratitude towards my men until we complete our mission.
わかりました。面倒をかけます。
Very well, I place myself in your hands.
お任せください。
Of course, you can depend on us. America tends to take coercive measures and use aggressive tactics, but the fact remains that every surface pilot here is risking their life just like the rest of us. In that sense, there's no real difference. Major and his battalion didn't cause the rebellion, none of the Americans being sent to spill their blood on this battlefield have a hand in planning it. The ones who did plan it are safe and sound back on American soil.
戦災難民が市民権を得るには軍に入って除隊まで務め上げるしか方法がないのよ。
Right, the only way for the war refugees to gain citizenship is to serve in the military until they're formally
だから
discharged.
今回派遣されている部隊のほとんどの人間が私と同じ戦災難民からの志願兵。
In fact, most of the soldiers deployed here are volunteer war refugees like me. All the American soldiers here are people like her who've been displaced, like the old lady at Mount Tengan. Even the Major's putting his life on the line out here, and he's an American citizen. I'm sure he could appreciate the Shogun expressing his heartfelt gratitude to them. And given her position, I think it's incredible that she can humble herself and bow her head. It's something worthy of respect. But for Tsukiyomi and the others, or any other Japanese citizen in this world, that must be hard to watch. I only know bits and pieces of this messy history between Japan and America, and even I feel annoyed. Objectively speaking, America had to back out of the security treaty to protect their interests. But from Japan's point of view, the US ran off and abandoned them, and then came back when they saw a chance to profit. And now the Shogun's bowing her head to the soldiers? That's not easy to accept. I'm sure Her Highness is fully aware of that too, so why deliberate everyone here to summon? If this is a response to what I told her earlier, I feel like I might have done more harm than
では
good.
冒険少佐、国連軍部隊の指揮官をこれに。
Now that Major Walken, I'd like to speak with the field commander of the UN forces.
神宮寺軍曹、
Yes, ma'am, Sergeant Shiguji.
そなたは
You are...
国連太平洋方面第11軍横浜基地所属神宮寺マリモ軍曹であります。
Sergeant Jiguji Morimo of the UN Pacific 11th Force Station at Yokohama
神宮
Base.
寺軍曹こたびの国連軍の尽力日本国将軍として心よりの謝意を表します
Sergeant
アメリ
Higuchi,
カ軍と合流するまでの間
as the Imperial
訓練
Shogun
部
of
隊を率い
Japan,
ての作戦遂行
I wish to express my gratitude for what the UN forces have done today. It must have been difficult to run this operation with only a cadet squad.
身に余る光栄にございます
I am unworthy of such an honor.
かの者たちがそなたの部隊の英士ですね
Are these the surface pilots under your command?
第207英士訓練部隊所属の6名いずれも日本国籍を持つ訓練兵であります
Yes, ma'am. These 6 cadets are members of our 207th Surface Pilot Training Corps. They are all of Japanese
訓練
descent.
兵でありながらこのような困難な作戦に従事するとはさぞや辛いことです
For cadets as yourself to be taking part in such an operation, this must be taking quite the toll.
我が国のこたびの混乱すべてこの夕日の力不足に端を発すること同じ日本人として
The current state of
国を預か
chaos
る者として
that plagues our country is entirely a result of my own incompetence. I offer you my sincerest apologies, both as a fellow Japanese citizen and as the head of state. I had a hunch you might do this, but bowing to cadets?
そんな
We're not,
でか
Your Highness. Everyone's speechless. Not that I could blame them. Unlike me, they were born and raised in this world of Japan. This is unheard of.
天下
Your Highness, huh?
大丈夫です下がりなさい
It's alright. Step back, Tsukiyomi.
神宮寺軍曹そなたの部下と話をしてもよいでしょうか
Jinguji, may I speak to your subordinates?
どうかご随意に
By all means.
そなたのお名前は
What is your name?
はい榊千鶴訓練兵です
Cadet Sakaki Chizuru at your service.
そうですか
So you must be...
榊コレチカ殿は私の中心でした
Sakaki Korachika was a loyal retainer of mine.
常に日本の行く末を案じことに望んではメッシの精神で奮闘する傑出した政治家であり
He was a great man and an exemplary politician. He displayed a selfless concern for Japan's future and took great pride in his
コ
work.
レチカ殿の生き様には私も学ばせていただくことばかりでしたこたびのご逝去寛解の念に対
I've learned much from how he lived his life. His is a loss that fills me with fathomless regret. I can't even imagine how hard it is for you.
恐れ多いお言葉です
Thank you for the kind
すべて
words.
はこの私の責任そなたにはお詫びのしようがあります
I expect full responsibility for what transpired. No apology could ever atone for the wrong I've done to you.
父は殿下と帝国のために仕える政治家としての職務を
My
信じ
father gave his life in service to your highness and the empire. He had no regrets.
決して殿下
And
の
it's
責
not
任では
your highness's responsibility. Her highness just took Class Rep's hand in hers.
申し訳ございません
Forgive me, your highness. She isn't letting go, just watching quietly as the Class Rep hangs her head. This, I really hope, gives her small amounts of
深い
closure.
悲しみの最中重責に耐え多大な尽力をいただいている
You have my sincerest gratitude for the great efforts you've made to stand in the face of such adversity, even in your hour of grief.
お言葉です
Your kindness is
どう
wasted
か
on
今
me.
しばらくの間こらえてください
All I could ask for you is to just hold your head fast for just a little while longer.
そなたのお名前は
Your name?
玉瀬美希訓練兵です
Tomase Miki at your service. Tama's already breaking in tears. Can't say I'm surprised though. She's still scared of what her dad might be the one
そ
responsible
な
for
たが
this.
玉瀬玄城斎殿のご息女ですか
The daughter of Tomase Genzozai, right?
殿下父をご存知なのですか
Your Highness, you know of my father?
はいこれまで幾度か事務次官が日本においでの際
I do. I have met the Undersecretary on numerous occasions in my visits to
お
Japan.
父上はご壮健でありましょう
He's still in good health, I hope?
つい先日横浜基地の視察で来日した際に会いましたがとても元気そうでした
Yes, ma'am. Just the other day he came to inspect Yokohama Base and seemed to be doing very well.
国連の事務次官職は激務と聞き及びますそなたも心配でしょ
That is good to hear. I've been told many times that the UN's Undersecretary is a demanding work. Surely you must worry for him.
はい
I do.
今時大戦における日本の戦略的位置は非常に重大ゆえ 我が国をめぐる政治的な背景が複雑。
Japan's position in the war is of critical strategic importance, hence the extremely complex political climate we now find ourselves in. I can only imagine that it puts your father in a rather precarious position from time to time, Your Highness.
されど、そなたのお父上のたゆまぬ努力によって日本にもたらされる功益は決して小さくはありませんよ。
However, there can be no trivializing the tireless work he has done for the sake of our nation and the interest of the common good.
私と同様、さぞやそなたも
I know you are quite proud of him, just as I am.
だからこそ、そなたも国連軍に身を置いているのであります。
This is why you've enlisted in the UN military yourself, right? It is. Thank you for your words.
父上と共に国際社会に奉仕する道を選んだそなたは立派です。
It is noble of you to follow in your father's footsteps as a servant to the international community. You have my sincerest gratitude. Thank you very much.
私の力不足でそなたにまでかような重責を負わせることになり残機に耐えません。
My incompetence has forced a heavy burden upon your shoulders, and for that I'm ashamed. However, I ask that you please try to endure yourself for a little while longer. I doubt a little pep talk is going to wipe away all of her uncertainty, even if it is coming from the Shogun, but hopefully she feels at least a little better now.
そなたのお名前は
And what is your name?
はい、鎧巫女訓練兵であります。
Cadet Yoroi Makoto at your service. She's probably a little nervous too, not letting it
そ
show
な
though.
たのお父上は鎧左近殿でしたね。
Yoroi Sakan is your father, yes?
殿下、なぜ僕…いえ、私の父をご存知なのですか？
How'd you know how are you acquainted with him, my father? Or my father? What is this, Star Wars? How are you acquainted with him, your Highness? Oh no, Her Highness doesn't know that Chief Yoroi kept his true occupation a secret. If she were to find out now...
そなたのお父上の会社は上大将の指定業者だそうで。
Your father's company is a frequent subcontractor for the Imperial Shogunate. We've met a number of times.
そうだったのですか。
I had no idea.
父の会社が上大将御用達ですか。
His company's done work for the Shogunate.
お父上の貿易会社には国内では入手困難となった物品を納めていただいています。
Your father's trading company has given us access to commodities which have been most difficult to procure domestically. So that's the official story, huh? Come to think of it, Makoto's dad did say something about contract work. Dang, the Highness is on top of things. I mean, this does make sense, of course. She's young, but she is the Shogun. She probably is way better at keeping track of things than I ever will be.
はい。でも私は父が何をしているのか正直よく存じませんので。
Well, thank you, that's good, but I don't even know much about what he does, to be
そなたの
honest.
お父上は職務上さまざまな政府の重要施設に出入りする身。上大将しかり、帝都城もまたしかり。
He frequents countless important government facilities in the course of his work, including both the Shogunate and the Imperial
さすれば
Palace.
相応の守秘義務を課せられるのは致し方のないこと。そなたのお父上はそれを守っているに過ぎ
So he has no choice but to keep the bulk of his work confidential. Your father is merely holding to contractual agreement.
はい、それはそうですね。
That makes sense.
加えてお父上はひょうひょうとしてつかみどころがなく難解な話も多々あるゆえたとえそなたに話をしていたとしても
Of course, he also speaks he has a rather enigmatic personality and a penchant for speaking in riddles. I dare say that even if he were to divulge certain details to you, you might find them a little hard to comprehend.
殿下にまでそのような失礼な父をお許しください。
He's like that around you too? Oh, your highness, please forgive him his insolence.
そなたのお父上のそういった性分に私は随分助けられているのです。
There's no need. That very facet of your father's personality has more than one occasion proven a valuable asset.
父が
Really?
お会いするたびにお聞かせいただく海外の面用な土産話や買い物
His witty banter and peculiar tales from his overseas travels help to distract me from my
殿
day-to-day
下にそうおっ
woes.
しゃっていただけると父も喜ぶと思います。最近顔を合わせていませんが私も安心しました。
I'm sure my father would be happy to hear that as well. I haven't seen him in quite some time, but I know he'd be glad to
そう
hear
な
it.
のですか。あまりお会いになっていないのですか。
Is that so? Then you do not see him very often. Chief Yoroi did come to the base recently, but he never went to visit Makoto. Hell, even today he could have easily have swung by, but didn't.
つくづく私の力不足を痛感します。かような事態を招き、そなたとお父上をますます遠ざけてしまいました。
This is only evidence of my own incompetence. My inability to prevent this turn of events has only increased the distance between you and your father.
いえ殿下、決してそのようなことは。
No, it's not your fault at all. Makoto doesn't know how much her dad's doing. He helped the shogun steal away from the capital, then returned immediately to try and bring the situation under control. All the while, his daughter was just a few hundred feet away, and yet if he went back on his own, even when it might be the last time he could see her. Her Highness can't tell Makoto any of that, so that's why she apologized in the certain way she
まし
did.
てやそなたは国連軍の訓練兵。かような困難に直面させていること。
On top of all that, you're a cadet in the UN military. I can't apologize enough for subjecting you to adversity like this. I
私は
mean...
国連軍所属ですが、殿下のお力になれるのであれば、それは私の誇りでもあります。職は違っても、それは父も同じだと思います。
I may be a UN soldier, but I consider it a great honor to be given the chance to serve you, Your Highness, and while his assistance may take a different shape, I'm sure my father feels the same way.
の怒りではありますが、今しばらくこらえてください。
I know this must be agonizing, but please bear with it for just a short while longer.
そなたのお名前は。
Your name?
はい、綾峰系訓練兵です。
Cadet Amine K at your
私
service.
の不徳がかような事態を招き、そなたのような訓練兵にまで過酷な任務を課す始末。
My own
申
failings
し訳なく思うとともに、
are what caused this turn of
心より
events,
感謝いたし
which
ま
has
す。
forced an unjust burden upon you and your fellow cadets. While I feel deeply ashamed by that, I must also extend to you my heartfelt gratitude.
任務ですので、どうかお気になさいませんよ。
There's no need, we're just doing our duty. Don't concern yourself with us.
任務という言葉に置き換えたとしても、将軍としてかような事態を招いた責任は消
You
え
are
ま
free
せ
to
ん。
downplay it as a simple matter of duty if you'd like, but I'm afraid this responsibility I bear as Shogun for causing this debacle cannot be so easily
ましてや
dismissed.
飾りであるとはいえ、私は帝国軍の総司令官であり、そのための教育も受けてまいりました。
And while it may be a name only, I still am the
軍
commander
の
in
半ば
chief.
であるそなたたちを戦場に赴かせることが、統率の正道であるか否かは考えるまでもありません。
It should not require even a moment's thought to evaluate the righteousness of a regime that sees fit to send fledgling cadets onto the field of battle.
私はこれまでに幾人かの将兵に指示しましたが、いずれの死も今のこの状況を嘆かわしく思っているに違いない。
I have studied under a great many officers over the years, and there's no doubt in my mind that each and every one of them finds his current situation utterly
人は
deplorable.
国のためにできることをなすべきである。そして国は人のためにできることをなすべきである。
People should do what they can for their country, and the country for them. That's what Ayamine's dad used to say. Why would Her Highness
と
know
ある
that?
師の教えですが、この言葉は常に私の心にあります。
That's something that my dearest mentor once told me. I have kept those words near me ever since. He was one of the Highness's instructors? Ayamine never said that. That's true, but if Ayamine didn't know about it, then maybe the fact he mentored her was supposed to be a
こ
secret?
の時ほど、この言葉の意味するものを大きく、
Never have I felt the weight of those words as heavily as I do
こ
now.
のままでは誠恩師たちに合わせる顔がありません。
At this rate, I may never be able to face any of my mentors again.
されど私も愚かな弟子のそしりに甘んじるつもりはありませんゆえ、今しばらくこらえてくださいませ。
However, I do not intend to resign myself to the role of a hopeless pupil. Can I ask you to bear with us just for a while longer now?
そなたに心よりの
You have my heartfelt gratitude. If General Ayamine was Her Highness's instructor, then there's a chance she knows about the relationship with Sugiri, which would mean that she knows about Sugiri's relationship with Ayamine, right? Her Highness did seem to be gazing pretty intently. How much does she really know? I had no point in speculating. For all I know, she could have been staring at that like just to gauge reactions. Ayamine's not exactly easy to read.
白金訓練兵。
And Cadet Shirogane, ma'am.
成り行き上そなたとは存分に言葉を交わせましたゆえ、ここで多くを語るのは先代。
We have exchanged words several times already, though, the natural course of recent events, so there's little left to stay.
されど、改めてこれだけは言わせてください。
But I would like to reiterate one thing, which is,
そなたに心よりの感謝。
you have my sincerest gratitude for all you've done. Her Highness clasps my hands in hers. She has such small, delicate hands, and yet they feel like they're encompassing my entire being. I shouldn't be able to feel them through my fortified suit, and you'd think I'd be freezing cold, but somehow I feel much warmer. Is she just overwhelming me with dignity? Am I feeling awe, even though I'm not from this world's Japan?
そなたが何がしかの答えを得る手がかりになると良いのですが。
I hope this will guide you to the answer you seek. What did she mean by this? What did she mean by this? We never finished our conversation from earlier either. Is she saying I'm just gonna have to figure the rest out for myself? So after all that, she's still not gonna say anything to Maya, huh? I know she's on patrol, but refusing to even look in her direction is a bit much, don't you think? Not that Maya is so much as glance at Her Highness. These really are incredible. A little all probably justified in retrospect. I know they don't want everyone finding out that the Shogun has a twin sister, but this is the first time they've been anywhere near each other since childhood, right? They're so concerned about one another, and they may never have a chance like this again. They're not even going to make eye contact? Couldn't they just, I don't know, pretend not to know each other? Is there really no way for them to get to what they both wanted to for so long?
アメリカ軍並びに国連軍英士の皆様、今しばらくお時間をいただくことをお許しください。
Now then, to all of you brave surface pilots from both the US and the UN, permit me to take just a few more minutes of your time. I get tradition's important, and I get that Maya's entire purpose in life is to serve as a body double. But given the situation, can they at least make an exception?
長きにわたるベータとの戦い、そして好転しない戦局に、我が国民の心は疲弊し蝕まれつつあります。
This lengthy campaign against the beta and the countless tragedies it's wrought have impoverished my people and scarred their hearts, but in my current state I am powerless to tend to their wounds.
皆様の多大な尽力を得ながら足手まといとなる始末。我が身の至らなさ、未熟さを痛感しております。
What's more, even though you have all fought bravely on my behalf, I have been nothing more than an encumbrance to you. It pains me greatly to be faced with my own incompetence and
それでも
inexperience.
私は民を守りたい。民の心にある魂を。
But even so, I still wish to protect the people. I wish to defend the very soul of our country that resides in our hearts. That's...
私が守りたいのは人々だ。人々の心を、日本人のその魂を。
Unlimited. I see.
国とは、日本とはそういったものを指すのだと思う。人のいない国はないのだから。
I think I understand. What I think about a country, I just boil it down to that country's government. Maya's different. I think I get it now. Is that why that old woman was important to you?
そうだ。私にはこの国の民すべてが大切な存在なのだ。
That's just like what Maya said to me when we were about to save that old woman.
私と同じく、この思いはすべての人が持っているに違いない。
Surely
私はそう信じています。
all men share a similar sentiment to their respective countries. I have very confidence in
走
that.
った者たちはその思いが強すぎたのでしょう。思いが強く純粋であるがゆえに立ち上がらざるを得なかったのです。
I believe that those who rush to a rebellion simply put it far more strongly than others, an emotion so raw and pure they cannot bear to remain silent.
確かに、かの者たちは腹からを殺めるという重い罪を犯しました。いずれその罪は法によって裁かれ、相応の報いを受けることになりました。
This does not change the fact that striking down a fellow countryman is a grievous sin. Grievous. And I'm confident someday the law will give them appropriate punishment for the crimes
さ
committed.
れど、どうかかの者たちの息だけは宥恕していただきたいのです。本来その責めを負うべきはこの私なのですから。
However, I would ask that all of you find it in your hearts to forgive not their crimes, but to recognize the nobility of their intentions. It is I, not they, who deserves blame for the calamity.
私は箱根からこの場所に至る童貞において皆様の思いや決意
Over the course of our journey from
痛切に感じ
Okone,
りました。
I have become keenly aware for the deep emotions all of you share.
立場を意にする皆様が各々の信ずる者のために戦場に身を置くことは人類の存亡をかけた戦いにおいて尊い行いでありましょう。
During a war in which humanity's very existence is at stake, I believe it is a noble and inspiring thing that you have all come here from such varying walks of life to fight for beliefs on the field of battle.
人と人とが相争い骨肉相はむこの戦場ではその尊さも色あせ
However, on this particular battlefield, where civil unrest requires that we slaughter our fellow man, that nobility fades and loses merit.
もうこれ以上この状況を看過するわけには参りません。
I can no longer sit idly by and hope the madness plays itself
な
out.
して私ごときのために人類の守りたる者たちが
What do you mean by this?
断じてまかりなりません。
And furthermore, this is highly unacceptable for you who would defend our human race to lay down their lives for the likes of me.
私が自ら決起した者たちを説得してまいりま
I'm
す。
going to speak with the rebels in person. You're insane. We could just serve her to Sugiri on a silver platter. That'd be throwing all of our hard work out the window. We're surrounded, we've got no idea what kinds of reinforcements to expect. Hell, if the situation doesn't improve, we couldn't even get her out in one piece.
恐れながら殿下、そ には賛同いたしかねます。無礼を承知で言わせていただきますが、到底正気の沙汰
I'm afraid I can't consent. To be perfectly frank, that's not a product of rational mind.
口を慎まれよ。
Hold your
よい
tongue.
つくよみ。少佐のお立場であれば
It's alright. I understand his perspective.
旧下田はもうすぐです。何卒
We're not far from Ultimoto, I beg of you. Yeah, of course the Major's not going to go along with this. If Her Highness ends up in Captain Sagiri's hands, then America's excuse for intervening would be null and void. It'd be embarrassing. The odds might be stacked against him in every regard, but giving up without a fight would still be viewed as a complete blunder. And of course, if this operation were to fail, all the Americans' lives would have been lost in vain. But wait. On the other hand, Her Highness could be a reasonable way to put to the end of conflict without losing more lives. The rebel force's top priority is to receive Her Highness's favor, and they have to condone for the rebellion. But since they killed the Prime Minister and several other cavalmeners, all of whom were loyal to the Shogun, the capital's gone up in arms. Surely they won't recognize that just capturing Her Highness won't negate the problems. Does Captain Sagiri even know that he's being used as a pawn by anti-alternative forces? Maybe he does know and chose to take advantage of interests? No matter how this happened, Captain Sagiri should still feel responsible for creating the situation. That's why he came all the way out here in person. If he saw Her Highness in front of him, he might not want to start another fight, and if Her Highness tells him to surrender, I think they would. It's also possible that the captain will lose it and try to kidnap Her Highness, but if he did that, he's just nothing more than a traitor. That's exactly what the government and ex-military are hoping he does. Even if Her Highness does fall into their hands, she shouldn't approve of their actions, which means the worst case scenario would be Captain killing Shogun himself. Or what if they demand something of her that goes completely against all morals and she chooses death?
すべての者たちの望みを満たす道が常にそなたの前にあるとは限りません。その時何によって決断し、どのような道をかの者たちに指し示すのか。その時迷いがあったなら、原点を顧みること、立ち止まる勇気を持つのです。そして、自らの手を汚すことを、伊藤、そなたが何がしかの答えを得る手がかりになると良いのですね。
Wait, don't tell me this is what she meant by not hesitating to bloody your own hands? This is what she hoped would guide me to the answer I seek? What if she literally means to get blood on her hands?
心配はありません。操縦の心得は多少あります。飾りとはいえ、
Could she be planning to strike down Captain Sagiri herself?
では尋ねる。
No, she's not.
君は将軍を直営する任務を与え
This has been too much of a nothing burger.
として殿下のご提案を是認できるのかね。
Let me ask you, Tsukiyomi, as the commander of the Royal Guard, would you approve of this plan?
私は殿下のご意志に賛同申し上げます。
If this is what Her Highness wishes, I do not object.
注意。血迷ったか。
Lieutenant, have you gone
彼の
mad?
者たちは殿下を案じて決起した次第。どうして殿下に対し弓引くような真似ができましょうか。
This rebellion was staged in her name, after all. If she were to appear before them, how could they possibly let her come to harm?
すでに奴らは自らの主張を翻し、帝都で先端を開き、殿下と民間人を危険にさらしている。ここに及んで志を貫く保証などどこにもない。
They already went back on their word when they brought the fight to the capital, putting Her Highness and the people in danger. There's no reason to believe that they would stay true to these alleged ideals.
この休戦の成立はいかに？殿下の奪取を目的とした歩兵部隊など未だ現れておりませんが。
Then what do you make of the ceasefire? Not a single person has tried to kidnap her.
この休戦は奴らにとっては手段だ。目的ではない。
This is a means for them, not an
で
end.
ある殿下を目の前にして何もしないなどと。エアボーン強襲という狂気を平然と実行するような連中の覚悟を侮るな。
The notion that they would not try anything if we were to present Her Highness straight to them is absurd. These are men who carried a downright suicidal assault. You would do well not to
お
underestimate
言葉で
them.
すが、かの者を侮っておられるのは少佐です。
Forgive me, Major, but it is you who underestimates
私
them.
が侮っているだと。
And why is that?
職業軍人である少佐にあの空挺を狂気としか理解できないことは致し方ありません。されど恐れ多くも殿下のご尊命において
It's understandable that a career soldier such as yourself cannot see that the assault is anything more than suicidal, but when in the name of the Shogun...
君に意見を求めた私が間違っていた。
That's enough. Clearly it was wrong of me to ask for your
あくまでも
opinion.
殿下のご意志は没却されるおつもりか。
So you still intend to disregard Her Highness' wishes then?
君には残念なことだろうが、私は日本帝国の軍人ではなくアメリカの軍人だ。もっと悪いことに、この部隊の指揮官でもある。
Unfortunately for you, I'm an American soldier. I don't serve the Japanese Empire, and it just so happens that I'm the one in command here.
そして私に与えられた任務は 殿下を無事に横浜基地までお連れすることだ。
And as commanded, my only mission is to escort Her Highness safe to the Yokohama base.
協力するなら同行を認める。邪魔になるようであれば排除する。
So let me make myself clear. If you cooperate, I will allow you to accompany us, but get in my way and you're eliminated.
ではただいまここでそのようになさるがよい。
Then strike me down. Seriously, could you not? Tonight is not the night to be infighting.
それ以上はなりません。
Tsukuyomi, stand down.
少佐、進化の無礼、平にご容赦を。そなたのお立場もご意見も重々心得ております。
Major, I ask that you forgive my escort's rudeness. You have made your opinion in the matter abundantly clear, and I understand your position.
恐れ入ります。
Glad to hear it,
されど
ma'am.
こたびのよし、承認を求めているのではありませんゆえ、そなたに従うことかないません。どうか許すのよ。
However, I wasn't asking for your permission. I'm afraid I will not be complying. Forgive me. Your Highness.
つくよみ、竹見和地をもて。
Tsukuyomi, bring me the Takumi Kazuchi. She's really gonna plan to do this to yourself? Wait, Maya?
何事だ訓練兵。勝手に持ち場を離れるな。
What are you doing? Do not abandon your post. Maya's gonna walk right up to her. This is the first time they've seen each other since they were separated at birth. It's the first time they've been able to meet face to face, and to think this wouldn't be happening if things didn't go out of hand.
そなたは
And you are.
国連太平洋方面第11軍第 207A 市訓練部隊所属三剣名也訓練兵であります。
Cadet Mitsurugi Mei of the UN Pacific 11th Force 207 TAC TSF Pilot Corps at your
殿
service.
下、ご尊願を拝し立て祭り、強越至極に存じます。
Your Highness, it does me great honor that you would deign to grace me with your presence. One way or another, they finally got an excuse to see each other. Whatever the circumstance, this should be a
こ
moment
た
worth
びの件に
savoring.
おける殿下のご心痛のほど、私ごときには察することもできぬ。
The anguish this incident has caused you is doubtless far deeper than one such as myself could even imagine. But Maya seems determined to not look up at her. Is this part of our tradition too?
そして殿下の先ほどのご提案、それが民草への限りなき慈愛とご配慮にあふれたものであることは疑うべくもございません。
Now, in regards to the plan your Highness suggested a moment ago, while I have every confidence that it was conceived as a product of your boundless love and consideration for the
しかし
people,
恐れながら元凶を鑑みますに、少佐殿にも一部の利があるので
in
は
my
ないか
humble
と。
opinion, given our
召喚は
current
支持いたします。
circumstances, the Major may have
こ
a
れ以上
point.
の無益な流血を避け、一刻も早い事態の収拾を図るためには、総国を乗り越え、全部隊が一致団
If
結
we
する
wish
こ
to
と
put
こ
an
そ
end
が
to this
寛容
debacle
と
as
存
swiftly
じ
as
ます。
possible without any more needless bloodshed, it is most critical that we set aside our differences and stand together as a single
そ
unified
れは
force.
十分存じております。
I'm well aware.
では、無礼を承知でご提案申し上げます。
Then, if I might be bold
もう
enough,
すぐに
my own proposal.
決起せし者たちを説得する大任、この私めに拝命賜りたいと存じます。
Instead of meeting with the rebel forces, allow me to go in your stead.
誠に恐れ多いことではございますが、私は常日頃より殿下に生き写しとの声明を
While I
馳
am
せ
in
て
no
おり
means
ます。
worthy of such an honor, it's my duty as birth to serve as your living duplicate.
お召し物を拝借するご無礼をお許しいただけるなら、おそらくかの者たちに看破される恐れはないと存じます。
If you would lend me your garments, they would find it highly unlikely that they would see through my disguise. Be that as it
この
may,
殿下のお役に立てる機会、今を置いて他にございません。
this may be the only opportunity for my life to be of use to you. I beg you. For your life to be of use? Come on. You've got to be kidding me. Is that really the only way your life has meaning? Are you implying that your purpose in life is just to serve as a body double? And yet I can't rebuke it either. She's been living her life believing that this is the whole reason for her existence. I can't deny that, but still.
そなたの申し出、大変嬉しく思います。されどこれは、私自身が果たさねばならぬ責務。
I'm deeply flattered by your offer, but this is my own personal
恐れながら
responsibility.
殿下、
I mean, no disrespect, but
御身の責務とはそのようなことではございますまい。
your responsibility lies elsewhere.
民を慈しみ、国土を育み、そしてそれらを広く深い徳を持って
If you aim to
治め
fulfill the duty
導く。
vested in you by the state, then you should be not concerned of yourself first and
それ
foremost.
こそが御身に課せられた第一の責務ではございませぬか。
Was nurturing the realm out of love for the people and guiding them down the path of virtue?
今、殿下に万に一つの大事あらば、遠からず帝国は滅びましょう。
If anything were to happen to you, Your Highness, the Empire's downfall would
こ
follow.
たびの騒乱の責任が御身にあると申されるならば、今必要なのは、かの者たちを御自ら中
If
す
you
るこ
insist
と
that
で
you
は
are to
ご
blame
ざ
for
いま
this
すまい。
conflict, then you have no business risking your life simply to administer justice to them yourself. So you drew the same conclusion, eh? Without even exchanging a single word. You are really in tune with her,
心
eh?
痛以下ばかりかと存じますが、事後の民のためを第一にお考えくださいますよう、伏して申し上げます。
I know this must be agonizing for you, but I take a step back and think for the people. Think of those who would look for you for guidance once this sordid affair is over. Dang, Maya. You carried an enormous burden on your shoulders since the day you were born, and you just took how nobly you've been bearing it. You two aren't polar opposites like light and shadow. You're just a twin sister, simple as. I beg of you, allow me to handle the rebel negotiations. You know, I just realized something. When I first came to this world, despite how different everything was, I feel like things naturally just fell back into place. Naturally, not the right word. I mean, you're the same person no matter what world you're in. That's insane. To call that a natural phenomenon is underselling it big time. If anything, it's supernatural. Very well then, I trust it to you. You do me a great honor. You may indeed be able to reason with them more skillfully than I even could. Your Highness... Major Walken, can you reconsider? Is this a plan you'd agree to? With all due respect, I express disapproval. Might I ask for an explanation? This change may circumvent the biggest problem. Hold on, guys. I'm going through an earthquake right now. What the hell? The beta are attacking! Oh my god, that just scared the hell out of me. Okay, first earthquake going through on stream. Wow. Yeah, that's probably going to put my heart rate up to at least like 105. That just scared the living hell out of me. I can't say I was expecting one. That one was huge too. Oh, good God. 115, 116. It's still kind of shaking like an aftershock. Ah, deep breaths. Wow, sorry if you guys heard all that commotion in the background. I kind of want to go check my house to make sure that nothing fell, but still feels like it's rolling, at least in part. Yeah, I think it is still shaking. For those of you guys that know where I'm at or are watching in my area, yeah, okay, well at least the earthquake that I have just experienced has indeed proven that the heart rate monitor still does work. And yeah, I definitely still feel a little bit of shaking. That lasted forever. Thankfully my dog actually made some noise before the earthquake just hit. But yeah, wow. Okay. But you know what? The elements aren't going to stop us. Earthquake or not, we're just reading Muv-Luv Alternative, and we're not going to stop here. I want to make sure that nothing fell, but I didn't hear any glass or anything shatter, so I guess we're okay, but yes, earthquake gang. Hope all of you guys that are watching in the area that I'm at or in the same state are okay. That was a very big and long earthquake. If the rebels can indeed be dissuaded, then I'd have no problem with it, but we'd have easily no problem to believe they've given up so easily. In the event she fails, she would need to break through them by force, but it could come to that. I imagine their defenses to be nigh impenetrable. You know what's funny? Is now, just in case something crazy does happen, I know this has been kind of a little bit of a nothing burger, kind of a little bit more political speeches. Yeah, hold on. My dad just texted me making sure I'm alive. We now know that the equivalent of me experiencing an earthquake and having to jump underneath my desk right now is about 115. That's about my BPM when I'm experiencing an earthquake. So we could kind of equate that as chalk that one up on the list as if it beats 115, if my heart rate gets so like if Muv-Luv Alternative really lives up to its name and gets that crazy, that means that at 115 is me experiencing an earthquake. So if it goes above that, then the biggest problem with this plan is that it spreads our forces apart. Given how few of us there are to begin with, that's the last thing that we want it to happen. It makes it far more likely that they discover exactly which TSF Shogun's in. My point being, if we try to break through the defensive now, our biggest advantage would be the enemy not knowing which TSF the Shogun is in.
説得に向かった期待と真実味を演出するために随伴した護衛機の分、敵は的を絞りやすくなるというわけだ。
But if your plan were to fail, then they could cross off the TSF being used to transport the impersonator as well as the one escorting it, thereby reducing our
加えて
advantage.
言うなら、殿下が偽物だと発覚した時の敵の反応は予測不能だ。今までの注意の話から想像するに、凄まじい怒りを買うだろうがな。
In addition, we cannot predict how the enemy might react that should they discover that the Shogun is an imposter. Though from what the lieutenant has said, I can imagine they'd be instantly furious.
あくまでも我らの任務は殿下を無事に横浜基地にお連れすることだ。無論これ以上の血を流さずに済めばそれに越したことはないが。
The fact remains that our mission is to deliver Her Highness safely to Yokohama base, and yes, if we should do so under further bloodshed, I would be all
以上の
for
点
it.
において、現状最も目的遂行の可能性が高い作戦は依然、戦力を集中した中央突破に勝るものはない。
But for the reasons I just stated, I still believe our best chance at achieving that objective lies in concentrating our forces to break
数字で
through.
考えれば確かにそのようですね。
From pure math, that would make sense.
リズムで固められる部分は可能な限り固める。数字が全てではないにしてもだ。
Numbers may not be everything, but I am trying to analyze the situation rationally to whatever degree
少
possible.
佐のご意見に異を唱えたわけではありません。むしろ訓練兵を替え玉に使うことで少佐の作戦の成功率を引き上げることが可能ではないかと考えます。
I didn't mean to be a contrarian, Major. In fact, I was wondering if using a cadet in disguise might actually increase the likelihood of your plan succeeding.
続けろ注意。
Go on.
まずこの訓練兵が決起部隊の説得に成功するならばそれでよし。
First of all, if this cadet successfully persuades the rebels to lay down their arms, then all is well. Did Tsukiyomi just refer to Meiya as a cadet? Is she trying to keep Major Walker from guessing Meiya's exact relationship? It would make
説得に
sense.
失敗した場合でもこの者に注意を引きつけることで殿下をお乗せした機体の脱出をより容易にすることができます。
But even if she fails to persuade them, she would still be diverting the rebels' attention, thereby creating an opportunity for Her Highness's TSF to make an easy escape.
その理由は決起軍部隊の目的が我々の殲滅ではないからです。殿下さえ手に入れば逃げる者は追わないでしょう。
I say this because the royal forces do not desire our complete
そこま
annihilation.
での余裕はないはずです。
As soon as they capture the Shogun, they will have no reason to pursue any stragglers. I doubt they could even afford to. Is she saying that even if Meiya were to fail to negotiate, we could at least ditch her to get the Shogun
仮にこ
safely?
の者が決起軍に拘束されたとしても替え玉であることに気づく頃には殿下は横浜基地に到着しております。
While that may result in this cadet being captured by rebel forces, Her Highness will have long since arrived at Yokohama base by the time they see through the deception. Would I be able to abandon Mount Meiya the same way I abandoned the old lady at Mount Tengen? I mean, hell, I couldn't even give Her Highness a triazolim. Is this something I'm willing to do even if it means bringing Alt 4 to completion?
一つ聞くが、今のプランは殿下のお望みとはだいぶかけ離れているが、近衛軍としては構わないと。
One last question. This plan you've suggested seems far removed from Her Highness what Her Highness desired. Does that not bother you, a member of the Royal
この
Guard?
状況下で全体無事に帰還できる可能性はいかなる作戦においても大差ないものと考えます。
Given the circumstances, I highly doubt there exists a plan which would allow all of us to make it out of here
殿下
alive.
のご提案とてそれは同じこと。説得が成功しても決起した者たちはいずれ処刑されます。
Her Highness's original idea was no
殿下も
different.
それを踏まえた上で先ほどのご決断をなされたということ
Even
で
if
す。
she succeeded at talking them down, the rebels would still have her be executed, and this was all with the knowledge in mind of that decision. That explains why she wanted to do it herself. Captain Sagri and his men would much rather die at the hands of the Shogun than be court-martialed and executed as a traitor. She knew that that's what they wanted without hearing it directly from their mouths.
でもよ、ここに残していったらあのばあさん死ぬぞ。心の神様は噴火を止めたりはしてくれない。メイヤがあのばあさんを大切に思うなら見殺しにするような真似をしていいのか。
私はあのご老人が亡くなるかどうかは正直あまり問題ではないと思っている。
あ？
命があれば良いという単純な問題ではない。生きているのと生かされているのとではまるで違う。
けどお前、
そこに自分の意志があるかどうかが問題なのだ。それが反映できるかどうかが問題なのだ。
言いたいことはわかるけどさ。
タケルも考えてみてほしい。 自分の大切なものが自分の意志とは無関係に奪われてしまうのだ。
This is just like what happened in Mount Tengen. Mei didn't see any problem with granting the old woman's death wish, but besides that, she was still willing to break military regulations to protect that which the woman held most dear. It all comes down to core beliefs and convictions. That old lady was at the mercy of the forces of nature, with an impending volcanic eruption threatening that which she held dear. Just like many others are at the mercy of powers beyond their control, what with the alternative program and the plot to dismantle it, threatening that which they hold dear. And just like how Mei has said, it doesn't matter if the old lady died, so long as it's what she wanted. Her Highness is preparing a way for the rebels to die, while still taking their wishes into account. These two incidents seem so interesting because... No, I'm just overthinking things. This world's timeline branched off a long time ago, by my own two hands. So, Your Highness, you thought that far ahead that you... It was that obvious? My incompetence is really shameful.
この絵は常に殿下の安全を最優先としているに過ぎません。
You seem to be misunderstanding something, Major. The Royal Guard always puts Her Highness' safety above all
我
else.
々の観点で少佐の作戦以上に殿下のご提案が、そしてそれ以上にこの訓練兵の策が殿下の安全において優れていると判断したまでです。
And from our perspective, both Her Highness' plan and that of the cadets seem to be more likely than yours to ensure the shogun's well-being.
これまでの注意の言動が感情に支配されたものではなかったことは私にとって良いニュースだ。
I'm glad to know that your statements so far aren't emotionally driven after all,
では
Lieutenant.
少佐、作戦をいかがなさいますか？
Now then, Major, what course of action do you choose? The sorry state of affairs isn't anyone's fault. I mean, none of this would have happened if I hadn't changed the future. Not that I think it makes everyone not that it makes it my responsibility, but even so, I need to do something to help put an end to this mess, the same way Maya and Her Highness has. If I'm going to speak up, and now this is my only chance, it can't be anyone else but me. How do I feel? I'm on board with it. Yep, I support Maya's plan. This is definitely the best choice. If we can get Captain Sagri to surrender now, it's over. The plan's the only one that might prevent further bloodshed. Since we're already strapped on for time with the alternative looping on the horizon, that's exactly what we should be aiming for. It's the only thing I could do. The prospect of Maya being into a decoy is still going to bother me, though. And if it comes down to it, Maya could be the one next to die. But she takes pride in having devoted her life to being the Shogun's body double. To deny her opportunity would be saying she lived her life for nothing. Any rational person back in my world would try and stop her, but that would truly be stepping all over the person she's made herself to be. From Maya's perspective, not being allowed to fulfill that role would be a fate worse than her own death. Just like how the old lady at Mount Tengen felt about leaving her home. If anything, I should be focusing on what I can do to help ensure Maya's safety. Even if she fails to persuade them, they won't do anything to her right away as long as her cover is not blown. And from the way she carries herself, why would they ever suspect a thing in the first place? Would it even be possible to prove she wasn't a shogun? She's barely an imposter. The two of them could trade places and we'd be none the wiser. Major requesting permission. You again? You and cadets are something else. Stand down. Thank you, sir. I'll take that as a yes. Cadet, I hereby volunteer myself to escort the Shogun's imposter. Maya, back at Mount Tengen, you left with me and no choice but to help you. This time it'll be different. I'll carry. I'm not just going to let you die out there either. I'm going to do what you did for the old lady and protect the life of someone I hold dear. It's your turn. And trust me with your life, will create a brighter future for mankind this time around. Hang on. There's something intriguing about this kid. Let me speak. Something about me. Was it because we just spoke during the mission? Not to look a grift horse in the mouse, but... Yeah, sir. First of all, while Her Highness may have some amount of piloting experience, it would still seem unnatural for her to be approaching the rebels in a TSF of her own. We scrapped the idea of having Her Highness personally execute the rebels, so I don't really need to Taka Mikazuchi for this. And I don't want to give Maya the chance to try something herself. Wait, Maya? Stand down, Cadet Mitsurugi. Maya, that look on your face couldn't be more obvious. You were planning to fight the rebels. I knew it. Well, can't let that happen. As I was saying, Her Highness has been riding in my TSF the whole time. It would make the most sense to have her imposter ride with me as well. I do not raise rebel suspicion. Chances are they've already guessed that the Shogun was most likely riding in mine based off the formation. It would make also the most sense to negotiate seem a lot more legitimate. And, considering what might happen if negotiations should fail, it makes more sense to have an actual surface pilot stay back, and I can fill the role for a cadet. For a bunch of rookies, our squad's done really well. Yuko's new OS packs quite the punch. If Mei and I could just keep the rebels distracted, I should be able to buy the others enough time to go ahead and haul the Highness back over to Old Shimoda. And in the event we both get captured, the fact that I'm not wearing a cadet's fortified chute will work in our advantage. Having her ride in a training TSF can be explained by the act of camouflage, but no way in hell are they going to believe she was left in the hands of a nerd cadet. In addition, my TSF passenger safety bill is already attached. We can move out immediately. If you have any other ideas, I'm still listening. I got them on the ropes. I'm sure the rebels truly do believe they're acting in Her Highness's best interest, but I also recognize that they didn't start this rebellion just for the hell of it. In that sense, the way that they chose to go about this is in no way justified. However, I'd wager that most Japanese people can relate with their cause, even if they disagree with the actions. I'm a UN surface pilot, but more than that, I'm a Japanese citizen, and this is where I can understand where they're coming from. In that sense, they may have already accomplished much of what they were trying to do. Major, there's no perfect way to resolve this conflict, but if we suppress the rebellion by force, history will repeat itself. Furthermore, an intervention by already unpopular US forces will serve to deepen the animosity already lurking in people's hearts towards them. Major, you called Japan foolish for staging a rebellion in the midst of our ongoing war with the Beta, but you have to understand that Japan is on the lines of that war too. People are constantly being pushed to their physical and mental limits in the fear of imminent death from the Beta. And the reverence for Her Highness is one of the greatest reasons they would endure all of that. If she were to help send these rebels to their deaths with the help of the US Army, after all they've risen up to in righteousness, it wouldn't be long before a similar, more organized rebellion broke out, and the US Army would be called yet again. If that were to happen, how many more American lives would be lost? Talker, this is called a slippery slope, but I like the speech. Far more than this time. And if the people lose their faith in the Shogun as a result of this incident, there's no one left to stop it. Who knows, it could even compromise the Far East defenses line, marking the beginning of the end for all mankind. In fact, the end's already begun, you guys just don't even know it yet. Let's say Japan were to fall. Well, there'd be nothing but ocean between the Beta and American soil, and that's not much of an obstacle for them. At that point, you can forget about your cost-benefit analysis. The losses would be too far or massive to even count. In the end, we'd abandon Earth for another desperate flight to another star system, not even knowing if we'd make it there alive. I'm sorry, but it's not happening. It's not. And if we could persuade those rebels here and now, it will never come to fruition. Just let us do this. Shirogane, get a hold of yourself. Forgive me. I got all worked up thinking about all five. I let the emotions get the best of me at the end. Major, if you could just send the two of us up in my TSF, we could keep the sacrifices to a minimum, even in the worst case. Please. Are you finished? Yes, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you hesitate to carry out a direct order of mine earlier? Of course, he'd bring it up. And I apologize. If you were in command here, would you leave an important mission to a soldier who can't even perform orders without hesitation? Why am I not surprised that this is coming back to bite me? I wouldn't. So why still volunteer yourself? I'll just be honest. I regret to admit that until just moments ago, I was afraid to be held accountable for my own actions. It's like Yuko said before, I was getting afraid of getting directly involved in anything that would turn out bad. I couldn't even obey Her Highness when she told me to listen to your orders. Her Highness did that? It's been giving a lot of thought ever since, and it might be because I'm still new to the country, but I don't think I originally felt any emotional involvement in this uprising, because I'm not from this world's Japan. If anything, I felt like it was just another obstacle getting in the way of my own objectives, because I know the future that awaits this world. I was furious that people would even consider fighting amongst themselves at such a crucial time. I thought it was childish. But over the course of this operation, I've been exposed to many different viewpoints and many different people and many different backgrounds. And now, I don't know what to think. The UN, America, the US military, the IRG, the parents of everyone lost in Squad 207, Captain Sagri, Major Walken, First Lieutenant Tsukiyomi, Her Highness. I can understand where everyone's coming from here, but I don't know what to make of it myself. I guess you could say, at the end of the day, I didn't really have any clear convictions or core beliefs of my own. In other words, the only thing pushing me forward here has been my sense of obligation. It was never anything deeper. But after we've all been through today, one thing's made abundantly clear, and I have May and Her Highness to thank. While I may not feel the same convictions or share the same core beliefs, at the end of the day, I'm still a Japanese citizen, and in any world and in any timeline, I'm a part of this country. As long as I don't lose sight of that fact, it will serve as a basis to help to guide the decisions I make and how I could go about achieving my goals. As someone who's seen the country both prosper and be driven to the brink of extinction, I've got a better frame of reference than anyone on this stuff. And once I've made those decisions, I won't get shy from getting my hands dirty. I'll accept the outcomes of my actions. I'm not a miracle worker, but if something goes wrong, I'll face up to the consequences. If all I did was run from my problems, I'd be no different than those who'd wanted to resort to Alternative 5. I'm still figuring this out, but all those conclusions convinced me to volunteer, and that's all. What's this objective you bring up? For mankind to win this war, and that one thing will change no matter what. Never change. No response? I'm being serious here, though. I hope this isn't the case. You weren't volunteering as a form of atonement for not obeying your orders earlier. I'm doing this because I feel it's my duty, sir. Not only does this plan give Her Highness the best opportunity to escape, but it also has a chance of resolving the entire situation while still taking Her Highness's sympathy for the rebels and Meia's wishes into account. It's got a lot going for it. Major, I'm begging you. The taste of actual combat must have helped you buck up, rookie. I understand your rationale, but... It would seem suspicious to this only send in a single Kabuki. Perhaps a royal guard escort would make it more believable? Tsukiyomi, she must have been planning from the start. Which makes sense, no way in hell she'd ever let Meiya go alone. We'll use your plan. The Shogun's imposter will ride in the Shirogane TSF and will be accompanied by Tsukiyomi's craft. Your Highness, does this mean approval? In that case, I'll need to return my soldiers to their posts immediately. Under the circumstances, I hope you'll pardon the lack of ceremony. By all means, duty should come before such formality. I'm grateful for your understanding. Major Walken? Ma'am. You have my gratitude. I'm only doing this myself. I'm only doing my duty, Your Highness. A field officer like me requires no such thanks. Everyone salute her. Get your TSS ready to move out. Dismissed. As for you, use this time to make whatever preparations you need to conceal your identity. Ebisu, bring me Your Highness's spare garments. First Lieutenant, Sergeant, take the next 5 minutes to give any additional orders to your subordinates, then come see me. We'll need to work out the logistics. Sergeant Yakuji, I apologize for my unwarranted interruption. For now, just focus on making this operation a success, understood? You'll get your punishment once we make it back to the base, and you're not going to be laughing this one off. Understood. I was fully prepared to accept the consequence when I spoke up, but I did kind of undermine her authority. I feel bad about that. First Lieutenant, what's up with her? She's just staring at me. Is something wrong? Is she going to chew me out? It may have sounded pretty childish, and I did kind of let my emotions take control, so there's no shortage of things for her to criticize me for. Did Her Highness tell you? What? What? About the relationship with Meiya? Forget I said anything. Lieutenant, take good care of Meiya. Yes, ma'am. Aw, yeah. It does look just like her. What the heck? The plan is as follows. 60 seconds before the ceasefire ends, Lieutenant Tsukiyomi will announce our intent to negotiate with the rebels onto an open channel. If the enemy agrees, we continue to Plan A. If they refuse, Plan B. Plan B is virtually identical to Plan A after Phase 2. Something wrong? Not at all. Is she feeling nervous? Not that I could blame her, I'm pretty tensed up. Is it too hot? Too cold? She's not wearing a fortified suit, I guess I could ask. I'm good. Well, okay then. She's about to negotiate with rebels by pretending to be the Shogun. It's not an easy task. Gotta make sure she's comfortable.
私のことは気にするでない。そなたはブリーフィングに集中するがよい。
Don't concern yourself with me. Concentrate on the briefing. I gotta say, now that I've seen her dressed like this, she does look the part. And that's coming for someone who was just in close quarters with the Shogun until an hour ago. I don't see how anyone who doesn't see her on a regular basis would tell them apart. Now, as for the specifics of planning, let's start by reviewing our positions. Cadet Mitsurugi will be in UN 20706 disguised as the Highness. Lieutenant Tsukiyomi will be accompanying them in Unit 1901 acting as escort. Hunter 2 will stand in the sniping position at Mount Maruno. Hunters 3 and 4 will do the same on Naniwa. Her Highness is currently aboard IRG 1902. 1903 and 1904 will be her escorts. They will stand by in the rear with Cadet Mitsurugi TSF Unit 20702 at the center. 20703 and 05 will reinforce the front. Depending on the situation, we may have to attempt a breakthrough. Ideally, we should do so in the direction of the Aizu Highlands. 207000104, stand by on the southwestern slope of Naniwa. The time limit for negotiations will be 20 minutes. Buy as much time. So he wants us to drag it out to 20 minutes if possible? It's for reinforcements to reach us, which would mean... Once those 20 minutes are up, Plan A will move to Phase 2. We blow a hole in the Rebel encirclement and break through the formation. 20702 will charge in on autopilot. If the cadet's identity has still not been discovered by this point, 20706 will then draw the enemy away. All units other than her, those escorting Her Highness, will move to cover 06 in order to make the feint seem more promising. I see. As long as the rebels think I have Her Highness, their whole force should chase after my TSF. Once their attention has been diverted, Plan A will move to Phase 3 and the TSF carrying Her Highness will escape. Also, if at any point negotiations should fail, we move to Phase 2. Keep it in mind. It's gonna be okay, we got this. If fighting breaks out, 20706 and 1901 will retreat and rendezvous with Hunters 2, 3, and 4 and then intercept the approaching enemies. At that time, 207000104 will also rendezvous with the Hunters, 03 and 05 for support from the rear. IRG 1902, 03, and 04 will break through the weakest point of the enemy formation and head for the Shirahama. In order to prevent any information leaking, no data leaking will be permitted during this operation. Remember that our success will depend on your ability to make rational judgments. I expect only the best from each and every one of you. This operation begins in 17 minutes. All units must be in position within 10. It's finally time. There's no way of knowing what will happen out there. But I'm going to make it through this. If I can't overcome a tiny hurdle like this, there's no way I'll ever be able to save humanity. I know you'll be able to talk them down. Of course. Attention, Captain Sagri. This is First Lieutenant Tsukiyomi of the Imperial Royal Guard's 19th Flight. Here we go. Please respond. This is First Lieutenant Tsukiyomi of the Imperial Royal Guard's 19th Independent Flight. This is Captain Sagri of the Imperial Mainland Defense Force Capital Guard. He responds.
聞かせていただこう。
Report the results of your deliberation.
この通信は機関の要求に対する回答をするためではない。
I didn't initiate this transmission to provide an answer to the question you posed.
では何のための通信か。
Then why call?
殿下が直々に機関と会って話され
Oh,
る
this
こ
is
とを
getting
望
good. Her
まれ
Highness wishes to speak with you in
それは
person.
事実か。
Is that so?
それは機関が決めればよい。殿下のご要望、疑うも信ずるも機関次第であろう。
This is for you to decide. You are, of course, free to question the sincerity of the request.
謁見の手はずを聞こう。
How would this audience take
殿
place?
下がお召しの国連軍機に現部隊にある全近衛軍4機が随伴する。
All 4 TSFs of my Royal Guardian will escort the UN and TSF carrying Her Highness. You're adding more escorts? What are you
国連軍機
doing?
には殿下の他に A 氏が搭乗していることを念のために断っておく。
I should also mention that the TSF will not be controlled by Her Highness, but rather a UN surface
落ち合
pilot.
う場所は天城高原インターチェンジ跡から直線にして約400メートルほど北西。伊豆スカイライン跡が河川及び道路跡と交差する地点としたい。
Our desired meeting place is approximately 400 meters northwest of the old Amagi Kogan exchange. With the Aizu skyline intersects the river and the old access road. Is this
場所は
acceptable?
確認した。そちらの手はずに従おう。
It seems so. I consent to your terms.
だが、接触後、殿下にはこちらで用意する機体にお召し替えいただく。それが条件だ。
However, after making contact, Her Highness will need to transfer to a TSF that we provide. That's my condition.
期間はさておいても、国連軍及びアメリカ軍の介入は明らかに主権侵害である。
While I can condone your nation's involvement, any UN or US intervention would be a violation of national
殿下のお言葉
sovereignty.
であれば、どのようなものでも賜る覚悟が我々にはある。だが、その場に国連軍及びアメリカ軍が立ち会う道理はない。
We are prepared to do whatever Her Highness wishes. There is no reason the UN or Americans should be present for our meeting, though. Tsukimi, what do you do now? You requested additional escorts so you could retract them during the bargaining phase. You just made him paranoid. At this rate, negotiations are
機関
done.
の主張は理解した。だが、その条件は受け入れられない。
I understand your perspective, but I cannot
その
accept the
条件は
condition.
当初の引き渡し要求を受諾するに等しい。そのような状況を殿下がお望みではないがゆえに、こたび謁見の運びとなったと知るがよい。
This would be no different than simply handing her over as you originally requested. Recognize that she has granted you only an audience because she does not wish to comply with that
何故
demand.
我々は殿下のご尊頼を仰げないというのだ。それは殿下のご意志ではなく、機関らの目論見ではないのか。
Why should we not grant Her Highness the respect she deserves? How can we know this isn't just her will and not some plot?
先ほども申したであろう。それを決めるのは機関だと。
As I said before, you could answer such questions for yourself.
殿下はこれ以上の争いを望んでおられない。混乱を鎮めるために介入した国連軍とアメリカ軍に対し、理解と感謝の念を示されている。
Her Highness does not wish for there to be any more conflict. She has already expressed her gratitude and appreciation to the UN and the Americans for their efforts to bring an end to this sordid
それ
affair.
は同族相反む無用な戦いを良しとされず、それに巻き込まれ苦しむ国民をおもんばかられた殿下のご診療に他ならない。
She will not endorse the slaughter of human beings for their own kind, nor can she forget the innocent people who have suffered as a result of this.
殿下のご心痛、機関であれば手に取るようにわかるはず。
You of all people should have no difficulty understanding how deeply these events have pained her.
今ここで殿下のご意志を軽んじ、無益な戦いをこれ以上長引かせることが、機関らの言う断りにかなうものかどうか、
Take
対
a
抗されよ。
take a moment to reconsider whether your noble principles would allow you to prolong the fruitless battle further, even in direct defiance of their will. Nicely done, Tsukiyomi. Her ability to relate the captain's feelings really helped corner him. Now she has no choice but to
先
go
の条件
along.
は撤回する。国連英士の随伴も認めよ
I retract the condition. The UN service pilot is now permitted to
了
attend.
解。ではこちらも直演を私のみと
Understood.
させてい
In
ただ
that case, I shall escort them by myself.
う。殿下の直演が一機だと。機関はそれでもこの絵の将校か。
You'd mean to escort the Highness with only one TSF, and you'd call yourself an officer of the Royal Guard? That's why she said there'd be more. The captain took it as a given that any Imperial officer would send as many Royal Guards as possible. Tsukiyomi understood how sincere the captain was, so he'd grow suspicious if she didn't request a sizable
これ
escort.
もまた殿下のおぼし飯である。そもそも殿下は機関らの謁見に警護は無用とまで仰せになっていたの。
This is at Her Highness's request. To be quite honest, her original intent was to receive you without any retinue.
なんと。
されど、まず機関の志の真偽を見定め、 その上でせめて一機は音もさせて。
However, I had to insist that she take along at least one,
差し上げたまでのこと。
if only to ascertain whether your intentions were truly noble.
機関を背踏みしたことは詫びる。されど直営が一機というよしは機関を信ずる殿下の御心の証であると知る。
I apologize for the deception. However, understand that it is proof for Her Highness's faith in you that I alone shall be accompanying her. I'm unworthy of such an honor.
ここは殿下のご厚情を賜るが良いであろう。
I suggest you accept this gesture in the spirit it was offered. It must have been tough for her to lie to the captain like that, even if it was for the end game, for Highness's sake. Very well, then I shall head to the agreed upon location immediately. No, I'll escort them first. Wait for me to make contact. Is that not filled with disrespect? I should be waiting there first. I only asked this to ensure her safety. Well, this guy seems pretty respectable. I will not obstruct you from your duties then. What the hell, man? From the way this conversation's going, you think he's the one being surrounded. He keeps giving in without argument every time he mentions the Shogun. Wouldn't your average rebel leader expect a trap? Considering how hard he's been fighting against the UN and US, this guy seems too trusting. Naive. We await your transmission. Sagri out. I guess it just goes to show how fiercely loyal Captain Sagri is to the Shogun. Why didn't he obey her to stop fighting in the capital, though? The fact he's given Tsukiyomi the benefit of the doubt here makes me think he really might be looking for an honorable death. Maybe this is one final chance to speak with her in person?
Takeru.
I know, it's time.
1901より2076詐欺に帯域と随伴機の接近を確認。
1901 is 20706. Sagri has arrived.
正面20メートルにて停止。詐欺に帯が機外に出て殿下をお迎えする。
06 move forward exactly 20 meters and stop. Only send out the Highness only when Captain Sagri opens the hatch. Copy. It seems Captain Sagri has arrived, Your Highness. Please prepare yourself to speak with him.
聞こえていた。イヤフォンの感度は良いようだ。
So I heard these earphones have excellent reception. The TSF's external mic should pick up your voice just as well, so you shouldn't need to talk too loudly. Understood. I can feel how anxious she is. I couldn't even imagine what she's going through. Because of the noble blood running through her veins, she's always had a lot of responsibility, but I don't think it's ever been this heavy. Must be pretty tough on Mei to be called Her Highness when she's just a body double, even if it's just part of the mission that I could probably never... tougher than I could even imagine. But probably, or hopefully, she'll manage, because we definitely can't let Captain Sagri get suspicious. That was a direct landing from a boost jump with only 21 centimeters of error. No wonder they're called elite. Their piloting skills are absurd. So if a fight does break out, what then? Sure, my new OS makes piloting a Fubuki a cinch, but we wouldn't even stand a chance against these guys. 1901 to 20706. The captain's ready. Grant him audience. Copy. Here we go. Okay, Your Highness, let's move. That's Captain Sagri, eh? Are you Sagri?
拝謁の栄誉を賜り、誠に恐悦至極にございます。私は帝国本土防衛軍
Yes, my liege, I am honored that you would deign me with your presence. I am Captain Sagri Noya of the Imperial Mainland Defense Force 1st Division, 1st Tactical Armored Regiment. You may raise your head. My thanks.
こたびこのような形でそなたと顔を合わせねばならぬこと。
It is most unfortunate that we should have to meet under these circumstances. That's great, Mei. You look as dignified as a shogun. I can't even trace the anxiety. Your gesture is perfectly natural, too. Words cannot express how it anguishes me to know how much actions have caused Your Highness such great anxiety, but... I beg of you to allow me to continue until all traitors nesting in the capital are vanquished and the malady of corruption purged from our government. I truly regret having forced you into such a position through my own incompetence. Your Highness.
帝国議会や軍のあり方と私の意志との間に 浅くない溝ができてしまっていたことは事実です。
As you said in your broadcast, the current state of our imperial diet in the military is far from ideal. Stark contrast exists between will and action.
されどかの者はかの者なりに国と民とそして世界を思い、
However,
そ
I
れ
have
を救う
every
ために力を尽くしてきたに違いありません。
confidence that our government officials have been doing everything in their power to protect our country, people, and world.
その思いが純粋であるがゆえに、齟齬や対立が生まれるのは往々にして起こりうること。
It's simply all that too often that sheer intensity of their emotions will inevitably give rise to misunderstandings and
そし
conflict.
てそれを御しきれぬ我が不徳こそが責められるべきなのです。
That is my inability to properly resolve these conflicts, and I am the one to
恐れ
blame.
ながら殿下、
Part of my impertinence, Your
将
Highness.
軍のご尊命において行われるべき祭りごとが殿下のご意志と違えているという現状こそが
As you
それざる
say,
ことなのです。
the government is taking political actions in your name with no respect to your actual wishes. That's why I can't stay silent.
人のなすことに絶対はございません。ですが、それを正そうとする心を持たぬ輩は、殿下のそのようなお言葉ですら、都合の良い隠れ蓑に利用しているのです。
Of course, I would not venture to absolutely condemn any man, but those who make no attempt to correct the state of affairs are simply taking advantage of Your Highness's good nature to shield themselves from all
そう
responsibility.
生じたならば、それを正すのは殿下ではなく、政府や軍でありましょう。
When conflicts arise, it should not be Your Highness's duty to restore order by themselves. The government and military should govern
しか
themselves.
し残念ながら、今の彼らに、そのような自浄作用はもはや望むべくもありません。
But unfortunately, it seems they no longer see fit to hold themselves
先の
accountable.
帝都での戦闘の際、仙台臨時政府から伝えられた殿下のお言葉は、即時無条件武装解除でした。
After fighting broke out in the capital, I received word from the Sendai provisional government that Your Highness had ordered an immediate and unconditional
しかもそ
disarmament.
の命を伝えられたのは、顧みるに、
And yet, in
すで
hindsight,
に殿下
by
が
the
帝
time
都
that
城
order
にお
was
られない
given,
はずの時刻、
I imagine Your Highness has long since fled the capital.
大方、かの者たちが握りつぶそうとしていた折、殿下のご不在を知り、急遽偽名を発したのでございましょう。
Perhaps while they were attempting to snuff out the rebellion, they became aware of your absence and chose to send out a false decree.
なぜ殿下は全軍に戦闘をやめるように命令しなかった？
もちろんしたとも。
だったらなぜ？
Aren't they all fully devoted to her? Oh, this is flashback. I'll also let the voices play.
そういう現状を嘆いた連中が決起したんじゃないのかね。
The surrender and retreat order came from the provisional government, so even though they claimed it was a decree from the shogun, they couldn't believe it. When he spoke with Tsukiyomi earlier, he was convinced he really did speak on behalf of Her Highness, so he complied without question. It just makes sense. But of course, we're just as guilty of deception. The only reason it worked out is because Tsukiyomi understands this rebel mindset. She knew how to word it in a way they'd find it
幸い
believable.
私どもは、誠のご加盟の内容を、去る信頼できる筋の者から聞き及んでいま
Thankfully,
した。
we'd already been informed of your true commands
他
by
の
a
者の
trustworthy
関係に
source.
陥ることはございませんでした。
We do not fall for their deception no longer. Trustworthy source? Chief, you're white?
私が決起せし同志たちに戦闘停止を命じたのは、かの者たちが用意した偽名の遥か以前にございます。
You issued the order of my compatriots and I to cease combat long before the false
さら
decree.
に、何故かの者たちは、殿下の命を私どもに伝えなかったのか。
And yet, for whatever reason, they did not see fit to convey the order to us.
恐れながら、かの者たちこそが逆賊。殿下がお心を痛める由はみじんもございません。
If I may be so bold, I would say that they are the true traitors. They are utterly unworthy of your compassion.
先ほど帝都で戦闘が始まった。未確認ではあるが、帝都城を包囲していた歩兵部隊の一部が近衛軍部隊に向け発砲したことが発端らしい。それに対し近衛軍第2連隊が全力で応戦。サギー隊員の戦闘停止声明も発表されたが、混乱は収拾できていない。
At the time, I just chalked up to Sagiri's lack of leadership, but maybe the powers that be actually wanted fighting to break out in the capital. Or was it the provisional government in Sendai? Were they trying to make this happen? Huh? What's going on? Why aren't you speaking? Come on, Maya. He's gonna start getting suspicious. Hurry up
はい
and...
そなたの申すことはわかります。されど今の帝国のありさま、これが将軍である私の責任であるよしは
Your
何ら
words
変
are
わ
not
ると
lost
ころ
on
で
me,
はない。
Captain. However, none of this absolves me from my responsibility as Shogun to be held accountable for the current state of the Empire. Don't scare me like
アメ
that.
リカ軍や 国連軍の介入を許してしまっているの
Nor
も
should anyone
また
else
しか
have to answer for allowing the US and UN forces to
ゆえ
intervene.
にそなたたちが私のために血を流す必要はないのです。
And as such, there is no need for you to spill blood on my behalf. That's the way. At this rate, we're finally going to put an end to all this infighting. I don't think Captain Sagiri would argue over to her face. Just lay on the heat.
恐れながら殿下の潔く崇高な御心に触れ万感こもごも至り
I cannot express in words how deeply I am moved by the purity and nobility of your spirit. It feels as though my whole heart has been
しかし
cleansed.
ながらアメリカ軍及び国連軍の介入は重大な内政干渉であり
But even so, the fact remains that this is a barbaric intervention by the US and
決
UN
して変わること
forces.
ではありません。
It's a grave threat to our
ことここ
sovereignty.
に至りようやく賜りました機会かかる事態を招いた不面目を棚に上げてでも殿下にお伝えせねばならないことがございます。
And now that it has come to this, and at last we can no longer have the opportunity to speak, there's something I must tell you, Your Highness, despite the profound shame it brings me to
もう
admit.
すがよい。
By all means.
こたびの件はアメリカの思惑を成就せんがための計りごとにございます。
Uh-oh. This entire debacle was in truth a plot drawn up by the Americans to fulfill their own hidden agenda. Where's he going with this?
帝都での戦闘は帝都城警備の近衛部隊に対して我が同志部隊が先制攻撃を仕掛けたことが発端となったとされています。
The fighting in the capital was said to have begun when some of my comrades made a preemptive strike upon the royal guard when they were defending the royal
結果的に
palace.
それは事実であります。
And while that is technically what transpired,
部隊指揮官は発砲を命じておらず一兵士が暴走し上官に出
false
発される発砲を続け
flaggerino,
反撃に出た近衛部隊に対し
but not a single commander ever gave the order to engage. In truth, it all began when a lone soldier opened fire on a royal guard, not stopping until his commanding officer shot him. The unit then made a tactical withdrawal while defending themselves from the royal guard's
そして
counter.
不思議なことに同じ時刻に同様のことが帝都城の周囲数カ所で発生いたしておりました。
And curiously enough, the exact same thing happened concurrently in a number of our other units surrounding the
そ
Imperial
の中の
Palace.
とある部隊の将校が命令を無視して発砲した兵士を射殺せずに逮捕し
One of our officers captured such a unit and brought
精
him
査の
in.
結果その兵士はアメリカ諜報機関の工作員であることが判明いたしま
After
した。
interrogation, it was clear that the soldier was, in fact, an agent of the employ of a U.S. intelligence agency. Oh, this is bad. May doesn't know anything. I mean, she may have had her suspicions, but having Sagri still spill it out, this is going to throw a wrench.
極東での復権を望むアメリカ政府はアメリカ軍派遣の口実を作るため帝都での騒乱を望んだのです。
The U.S. government wishes to reclaim its influence over the Far East. They instigated the fighting in the capital just to create an excuse to deploy armed
帝都の戦
forces.
闘からアメリカ軍が殿下を救出し保護し日本の騒乱を平定する。
After they would then charge in to rescue the shogun and restore order. That's how the plan was initially written.
そしてまたアメリカ軍をたやすく率いる殿下の戦闘停止命令を握りつぶした仙台臨時政府の者たちこそが
When you consider this,
張本人なのです。
those truly responsible for this violence are those in the Sendai government who allowed the U.S. to intervene while ignoring your order to cease combat.
さりとてそれを許した私の罪拭えるものではないことは
Of course, I am still the one who
重
allowed
々承
this,
知しております。
and this is a sin for which I'll never atone. Her Highness already knew of this, which is why she was planning to grant the captain and his men an honorable death. But when Maya volunteered to take her place, she did it purely off the information available to her. She wanted to respect the Highness's decision. She never knew about underlying motives. And whether he's telling the truth or not, this new information is only going to make her feel more sympathetic. Hell, it made me feel pretty conflicted when I just heard it, and I used to think that this was stupid and inexcusable.
殿下
Your Highness, wait, Maya, you're crying? What are you doing? You're supposed to be Her Highness's body double. Weren't you willing to sacrifice yourself? You cannot let emotions get the best of you. Her Highness would never cry. She'd wait until she was completely alone and then mourn after. And Her Highness would know more about the situation. She must have feeling far more conflicted. No matter how hard she had tried to protest, her words fell on deaf ears. She was forced to just sit and watch as they played themselves out. But she felt like she had to help somehow, so she could use herself as bait. And even in the hour of mourning, she still wanted to give Captain Sagri an honorable death. How is she able to do this? Is it just because of Shogun? It's because her position won't allow her to run away? No. It's because of how deeply she cares for her people no matter what they are. It's because she wants to create a brighter future for Japan where all people can live in harmony and be proud of their country. Yeah, and because she genuinely believes the government and military are doing their best to make that dream a reality, that's why she can silently resign herself to the state of affairs, no matter how wrong it seems to the rest of us. That's why she keeps telling anyone who objects to status quo that she's the only one to have to blame.
そこまで
If you
そこまで国を民をこの公務員夕日を思う
if
の
you
なら
truly
ば
feel so strongly for your country and its people and for myself as your shogun, hang in there, Maya.
何故そなたは人を切ったのですか
Then why have you struck down your fellow man? Maya,
血は血を呼び争いは
the
争いを生み
bass
ます
song is on
その
again.
ような市議をもたらしたそなたたちのこたびの行いそれは私や民の心を汲んだものだと
Heart rate
本当に
going
言える
up.
のでありましょう
I
か
could feel it. Blood only begets more blood and violence more violence. Think about the actions you took that brought this soldier to fair. Can you truly claim they are out of consideration for the country? You're...
将軍の意思を民に正しく伝えることがそなたたちの本意であったとしてもそれが伝わらぬ者それを阻む者を排除することが許される道理があろうか
Even if you only meant to ensure that my will would be conveyed to these other people, does that give you the right to slaughter those who would suppress it?
それを許すのであれば天元山の人々を力ずくで排除した政府を非難する
She's going off. If that is your definition of justice, then you have no right to criticize the government for forcibly evacuating the people of Mount Tengen. She calls out the hypocrisy.
あろうはずがない
You have no right to claim that you speak on behalf of your own people.
国とは日本という国は民の心にあるもの
This country, this nation we call Japan, exists first and foremost within the hearts of its people.
それを民の心にある日本を映す鏡のような
And
も
the
の
shogun is but a mirror, meant to reflect that concept in our nation which lives within their hearts. That is what I believe.
映すものがない鏡
And she hits him with the quote. And what use of a mirror if it has nothing to reflect? She is... Oh my god. She's dabbing on him.
すなわち民を守るということ民のない国など
To protect Japan is to protect its people, for a country is nothing without its
そなたが
people.
それを一番分かっていながら道を誤ったのです
You understand that more than anyone, and yet you strayed from your righteous path.
されど未だそなたたちに残された聖堂があります
However, it's not too late to do the right thing. She's gonna tell us Sudoku?
過ちを注ぐ道が
There's a path by which you could be absolved.
一刻も早くこの争いを終わらせ民を不安から解
Oh
放
god, I love this song. This is like a top 5 VN song right here, honestly. I think it's called For Those Who Depart or something like that. For You Who Departs. This song is so unrealistically good. And it apparently hasn't even played at the best part yet. We must put a swift end to this conflict and deliver the people from their misgivings. This song played at my favorite part, which was the monologue in chapter 5. And like every single time that this song plays, it does not skip a beat. You have alone the capacity to protect all those who have risen up in support of your cause.
帝国軍やアメリカ軍、国連軍の将兵を一人でも多く救えるのはそなたしかいないのです。
You alone can save more Imperial American and UN soldiers than anyone else right here, right now.
日本の行く末を憂うそなたの思い、そなたの志はこの私がしかと受け取りました。
Your lament for the direction of our country is heading is not lost on me, and thus you've not struggled in
これ
vain.
よりのちは常にこたびの剣を戒めとし、民のため、日本のために尽粋する所存です。
I shall never forget the lessons this incident has taught me, and from this day forward, I will devote every fiber to my being, of my being, to my people and for the betterment of our
公務
country.
員夕日の名にかけて、そなたに誓います。
I swear to you in the name of Kobun Yuhi, Your Highness. I really underestimated her. She's always worried about the Highness's problems. Oh, still haunts you to this day? I thought it was good. Now you got me a little worried. May is always worried about her Highness's problems as if they were her own, and her Highness always held May in such a fond regard. They never spent a moment together, living their entire lives apart, and yet they understand each other so unbelievably well. She actually figured out that her Highness wanted to grant Captain Sagri an honorable death, even without knowing any of the background information. And even after the shock of learning all the hidden forces at play, she's still doing exactly what the Shogun would have done. I'll never stop being amazed by the connection they share.
ありがたきお言葉の数々。我が身には過ぎる栄誉にございます。
I thank you for your kind words. They do me honor far beyond my own worth.
我が同志の処遇。くれぐれもよろしくお願
Your
いいたします。
Highness, I leave my comrades' fates in your capable hands. Does this mean
下げりたい
Sigurd? What the?
白金殿下をお守りしろ
Retreat. What the hell? Get down! Why'd you shoot? You've got to be kidding me. We had him! Our 20 minutes aren't even up yet, you idiot!
なぜ
Uh-oh.
なぜなんだ
What's the meaning of this? What about Captain Sagiri? Who shot? Hunter 2 respond. Cease fire. Stop! Get out of there, Maya. What is happening? Everything was going well. Don't be ridiculous. What are you doing? Fall back, Shirogane. Fall back. No, we can still convince him. Stop. Just fasten your safety harness. But I'm not letting you die. I'm bringing you back to Her Highness alive. Why did this have to happen? We were so close. We were so fucking close. We are now cleared to engage. Hey, this is the main menu theme. Looks like they're planning to take you home with them whether you like it or not. Well, that's a good thing. If they're focused on chasing up, Her Highness won't have any trouble escaping. 3-4, give 06 covering fire. There's far too many of them, 03. All them off, all cover. Thank you. I'll take the 2 at 6 o'clock. At 2 o'clock. 06, focus on getting out of there. Zero rendezvous with 06 and 01. Eliminate all enemies you encounter. 00 Wilco, 01, 04. Do not fall behind. Don't you go dying on me, guys. With Yuko's OS, we should be able to make it out of this. Taku, what the hell happened? The enemy's concentrating its forces on Mount Iwa. We gotta keep retreating to draw them away from the Highness. Captain Sagiri is still right on me. With his piloting skills, that Shiranui is gonna be quite the force. Activate Plan 3! Phase 3! Phase 3 in effect! All units spread out. Pincer movements. Now! We missed? Sergeant. Nicely done. That wouldn't have worked if you hadn't lured him out. Focus on evasive action. Put that new OS to work. Next one's coming. Don't let up now. They slipped by. Hunter 3. They're headed for you. Alright, come get it. They dodged me. You idiot. They're headed for the rookies. Enemy units ahead. 4? We have to take them out. Whoa. Newbies, you good? Don't fall back. Push forward. Push forward. There's no time for daydreaming. When the enemy's in your sights, take the shot. We'll take care of these guys. Go on ahead and rendezvous with the others. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Miki, are you okay? We need to make our way over to 00. Right. Huh? No! No! Lieutenant Irma's marker has disappeared. Oh no! No. Not like this. This is bad. If we keep up, we're done for. We have to hold out a little longer, just enough to meet with the others. Have we been hit? It's fine, don't worry. Right, May can see what's happening outside. I've totally forgot that May is not wearing a fortified suit. Stay vigilant. Don't concern yourself with me. I know, don't worry. I cannot afford this right now. Major? What the? What? Hunter 1, just get out. Major. You've got good moves for a cadet kid. Keep retreating. 00, get to 06. Wilco 0104, do follow me, don't fall behind. Insult American, you insult me for the final time. This is the action we asked for, lads. This is what we've been alluding to. Lieutenant Tsukiyomi was right. I do seem to have underestimated you, however. But like any soldier, I've sworn allegiance to my nation. And on my country's honor, you will not be able to pass. So long as Her Highness lives, there's a hope for my country. I've walked a path fraught with blood and violence, but I can't turn back. What the hell? He outmaneuvered my raptor? If nothing else, I'll eliminate those who defy Her Highness's will. Major Walken, is he done? Fret not, I'll be soon to follow. Major! What happened to the Major? Sagiri he just one-tapped the Major? The F-22A Raptors had a 7-to-1 kill ratio. This is ridiculous. How the hell did he get it taken out so easily? How good of a pilot is Captain Sagiri? He's after us now. God dang. Takaru, calm down. I can't even hit him. I haven't landed a single shot. He's too fast. He's gonna kill me. What? Class rep? Don't do it! That's Ayami's ace. All units of 207 get back. Tsukiyomi! You don't stand a chance, get out of the way. Class Rep Ayamine, are you okay? I'm fine. Yeah, I don't think so. 0-0 to all units, everyone fall back. Our objective is to... Lieutenant Tsukiyomi, is it? Oh, they 1v1'd now. We can't hear you, Sagri. Can you speak up a little bit? You're a royal guard. Why are you taking an American side? You'd sooner bend the knee and save yourself than die defending your honor. Is that it? Well, Lieutenant, answer me. Answer me, dang you. Japan has become so embroiled with its service to mankind that the principles upon which our nation was fallen has fallen to the wayside. Our forefathers did not give their lives so Japan would become frail and submissive. If we don't open up our eyes now, Japan will never know salvation. You finally found your tongue, have you? I believe you set Japan on its rightful course. I know, seriously. Your actions have awakened the dignity and integrity that lie dormant in our people's hearts. But that end doesn't justify your mean, and I'm prepared to be held accountable for which. But while you may have fallen astray, you still risked your life to restore order to your country, and I must commend you for that. Desperate times may call for desperate measures, but that's no excuse. Then allow me to aid you in your suicide. Holy. She one-tapped him. Tsukiyomi the mad lass. Then I am willing to be the martyr for the dawn of this new era. I now leave the rest to you. Dang, you guys, that was epic. Hopefully my heart rate represented it. Was it at least like 85 plus? Just to make sure it was accurate. That was insane. That was cool. That, like, action wise, that was probably the best so far. My favorite was nice. Heart rate reflected it. It started to stabilize. Cool. At 1323, the last insurgent unit showing signs of resistance in the Ichigaya garrison surrendered, after which the Sendai provisional government declared the coup officially quelled. They also announced just moments ago that martial law in the capital has been lifted. Municipal services across Kanto are going to resume operation. It's finally over. I lived. Another 2 or 3 days, things will go back to the way they were before the rebellion, as far as most are concerned. We suffered some massive losses, no doubt. Hey Shadow, I'm interested, man. You said that that song, For Those Who Depart, is haunting. Why? Should I be prepared? Class Rep's dad, the Prime Minister, Major Walking, Captain Sagari, all those cabinet members that were executed as traitors, the innocent civilians, plenty of surface pilots, more than a few TSFs. I wouldn't say they gave their lives in vain, but at the very least I've learned hell. There's something I could do to save humanity, and now I can't do it without, or I can do it without facing consequences. As the only man who's ever lived through 3 different timelines of Japan, if there's anything that this incident has taught me, I do have my own set of core beliefs. If none of this had ever happened, I would have never found myself. Though I suppose I might. Oh shoot. I'm kind of worried now, man. I'm kind of worried. Though I suppose I might just trying to see some kind of silver lining through something horrid that wasn't unavoidable, and I'm going to pretend otherwise. I have to come to terms with it the best I can. There's only one thing I just can't get over. There was no reason for for Sagiri and Walken to die out there. If that US surface pilot didn't fire prematurely, we could have avoided it altogether. But now she's dead, and we'll never even know why she did it. Considering how far the fighting started in the capital, would it be fair to assume this was a part of a conspiracy of some sorts? Captain Sagiri was hoping for an honorable death, but it didn't need to happen like that. Not in front of Her Highness and all others connected to the incident. I know. I know we'll never get anything done without sacrifice, and that's how I've justified it to myself. But I can't just put it out of mind either. I do hereby express my deepest gratitude for your efforts to this day. This incident has left our people and many others around the world in a state of profound sorrow. Can there truly be no progress between us and man without needless bloodshed? I sincerely hope that is not the case, and it is you, brave cadets, who give me reason to believe.
かかる困難を克服したヨシは
Your squad, even with all of its connections to this tragedy, set everything aside and came together to overcome this trial. Such efforts are worthy of deep respect.
こたびの剣を戒めに、そしてそなたたちが示した規範を胸に、私は
I shall take this incident as warning and fulfill my duty as shogun with the bravery you've showed me.
国連や帝国、そして人それぞれ重んじるものに違いはあれど、その目標とするもの、根源的な願いは一つ。
The UN and the Empire may have differing values, and indeed no two men are exactly alike, but I believe that underneath it all we share a common objective, and we are unified in this.
よろしくお願いします。
Mankind's future is in your hands now. Your Highness, you have my sincerest gratitude. Well, there she goes. There goes my hero. And they never got another chance to talk to one another. I hope you don't regret that later. What are the military police doing here? What would the MP want with Makoto? Don't tell me. You've been subpoenaed by the Pacific 11th Military Corps. What? Pacific 11th? Follow these men and do as they say. Understood. Uh-oh. Makoto. Don't worry, we don't know why she's been summoned. It must have something to do with Chief Yoroi. Marimo should be able to figure that out. No matter what happened, the MP are not going to demand anything from a cadet. We still don't even know if Chief Yoroi is safe or what he went in that capital. Either way, I guarantee they're going to interrogate her. To be honest though, I think the fact that an Imperial intelligence agent was able to walk out of facilities as he pleased is a pretty serious problem. Is Yuko going to be okay? Well, I guess the fact that they're interrogating Makoto probably means that they couldn't trace it back to her, but still. I'll bet Chief Yoroi was intentionally keeping his distance from Makoto because this might happen. That way they won't be able to get anything out of her. But it also means she might learn what her real job, her dad's job is. Who knows how she might react. For today and tomorrow you remain on standby. There is a chance you'll be debriefed about this affair, so get rest. That is all. Dismissed. We should probably get going, yeah. Don't worry, Your Highness, I won't let you down. I'm going to protect this world and everything we fought for, because I'm the only one who can, and I'm not going to shy away from anyone. Hey, Maya. You sure you made the right decision? I'd rather not talk about it, I see. Forgive me. Hey, wait up. I got a delivery for you. From a certain someone. It's the only thing she brought with her when she fled the capital. She said it was proof of the time you spent together way back when, even if it was just a short time. It's also Her Highness's way of saying that even if you're apart, even if you can't talk to each other, you always have that bond. It's her way of saying that you'll always be family, not just as Shogun as body double, but as siblings. I'm gonna head back. Catch you later. So you did know, after all. About? Forget I said anything. Aww. Is a cutscene? It is! I will move the mouse off the screen. Oh, rip. Wait, Bible thumb.
いつか変わらずあなたの故郷に
されど日本の目覚めの願いやむにやまれて立ち上がったその志までを軽んずることはできません。私たちの心の刻み顧みるべきは日本人としてあらゆる誠の姿にあると思い立てました。それについては人類が一丸となる強大な敵に立ち向かうための力となるでしょう。長々と戦乱の終わりは未だに皆様の心には不安の大きなうねりとなって押し寄せていることです。
これで帰れる場所はなくなった。
今という時代強靭な精神を持って歩まねばなりません。よくやくさの牙を体に握ざるを得なかった彼らは身をもってそれを示そうとしたのです。
父さん、生きてるよね。バカな人。
Holy. God dang. Oh man. That was a ride. And now the prologue is over. Yes, my friends, that was the prologue. I was gonna end it here, but vote real quick. Do we end it here or do we figure why the frick he's back home? Keep going. Where am I? No, I saw Sumika's house, dude. I'm in my old room. I'm home. Honestly, lying here like this almost makes me wonder if this coup ever happened at all. And it's hardly even been 2 days since. We were supposed to remain on standby for a day, but instead they dragged us back to the Aizu Peninsula or some on-the-spot debriefing. Class rep was excused so she attended her dad's funeral. Makoto's still in prison. Everyone's got a lot of emotional baggage. But it did seem like Her Highness speaking to everyone helped. This is no daydreaming, though. What's the date? Did I miss the deadline? December 10th. I promised to come back in 3 days. Yuko hates that I'd be waiting, so I know she's mad. But I can definitely get my hands on that theory. What I'm more worried about is whether I'm really myself this time around. If there's still another me in my world, how do I go home? For the time being, you can't. You're kidding me. Wasn't saving this world your first priority anyway? Oh, I guess this must be 3 days. But after finding out that it might be possible for me to just go back to my own world, it's hard to accept. Yeah. So we're probably just gonna go to Yuko and grab the theory and then give that to Yuko here. God, that coup d'etat arc, man, that was epic. And apparently now this is when things get really good. 7 through 10 are what this game is like notorious for. Like I said, we just finished the prologue, you guys. Chapter 6 was the prologue ender. So if you guys think that the ride is like midway through, the ride is just beginning. So this flashback here is just he's asking about why he saw his old self in the first time he went back in chapter 5. So he's just asking about his old self, if it's possible to go ahead and fuse. I was sure she's the one thing that could unite me and my other self. This world's me doesn't know about the future with Sumika, but even so, she's been in my thoughts for as long as I can remember. My feelings for her go way back, and that is probably what does the trick. Did I manage to merge with myself this time around, or are we separated, and the other me just happened to spend the night somewhere else? My memories may have come back to me, but I'm technically 3 years in the past. No way am I gonna remember what I did that night. But if there is another me out there in existence, things are gonna get real messy. So did you finish making the necessary adjustments? Well, you see, that coup d'etat didn't exactly do wonders, but yeah, it works. So I've got nothing to worry about. There's only going to be one of me this time? Oh, chapter 7 is the longest? But is it good? Probably? Well, you're usually more confident than that.
かい話が聞きたいの？
What would you rather I go into detail? Yeah, lay it on me. Oh, I misclicked. That is atrocious. If I want to understand, it doesn't matter.
助かるわ。
Well, it expedites things.
ところで今回はどのくらい元の世界に
How long will I be able to stay in this world?
そうね。15から18時間ぐらいかしら。24時間は。
15 to 18 hours? Not at 24,
そん
though.
なに戻れるんですか？
That long?
喜ぶのは早いわ。急増の装置だけにそろそろ動作保証が怪しくなりそう。
Don't celebrate just yet. This thing's a slapdash, so I can't guarantee it'll work for much longer than that.
電力供給の問題もある。前にも言ったけど、長々と続けていていい実験じゃないの。
There's also the issue of power. Like I said before, we can't keep doing these experiments for
霞
very
の問
long.
題もありますしね。
And I don't want to strain Kasumi either.
ええ。だから今回が最後のつもりでいて、その代わり万が一に備えて可能な限り最大の時間を与えるわ。
Exactly, which is why I like to make this our last session. In exchange, we'll give you as much time as possible just in case.
18時間。
No, that's a good response. That's a very fair response. When I said that, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that because no matter what, now I might have some sort of bias. That's a perfect response and I'll take that. And I'll go into Chapter 7 with absolutely no bias, but I will be prepared for the long haul. If you don't manage to fully materialize, it's going to be a long 18 hours, I'll tell you that
成功
much.
すれば世界への干渉がどうって話はなくなるってことですか？
But if I do succeed, does that mean I won't have to worry about the other, how I might accidentally influence the other world?
まあ、二人同時に存在するよりはマシという理由。
Well, let's just say it won't be as bad as if there were two of you.
そうですか。
Gotcha.
無責任なことを言えば、理論を回収する確率分岐はクリアしているから、それだけを見ればもう何をしようが構わない。
This might sound rather irresponsible, but since we're already on the branch where you retrieved my theory, I don't really care what you do as long as I get to see those
同じいく
formulas.
ら干渉しても、それは理論の回収をできる世界から分岐した世界だから。
As long as you got those in your hand, you could wreak havoc as much as you want, and it'll still be just another branch in the timeline in which you retrieved the theory.
白金が元の世界に帰れる可能性が現実的にある場合、あんたが帰れるのはその干渉した後の世界だ。
Do keep in mind, though, that if you ever do actually get the chance to go home, it's most likely the branch in which said havoc was wreaked. Wreaked. I still haven't given up on coming home, but saving humanity has to come first. Not only have I traveled between worlds, I've even gone back in time. Twice! I'm sure there'll be some way to head back. I just gotta focus on what I gotta do without getting cold feet, which is what I've set my mind to. First things first, gotta make sure I'm actually me. December 10th. Did anything happen today?
まあ
Well, now, huh? Ah, Lieutenant Tsukiyomi.
タケル様、いかがなさいました？
Is something the matter, Takaru? No, wait, just Tsukiyomi, that gentle lady who always used to call me Takaru-sama for some reason. At this point, I'm more used to seeing her as a hard lieutenant in the Royal Guard, especially since the coup only just ended. I've got to say, kind of like it better as a maid. Not that I'd ever say as much as the other one, she'd rip me to pieces.
タケル様、まだ5時でございますよ。
It's only 5 a.m. Oh, I guess you're
明
right.
け方は一層冷え込みます。さあ、お部屋にお戻りください。
The air is still quite frigid. Return to your room. Tsukiyomi?
はい。なんでございますか？
What is it? Did I sleep in my own room last night? I didn't spend the night somewhere else, did I?
タケル様ったら寝ぼけていらっしゃ
I
い
could
ます
see you weren't fully yet awake, huh?
さあ、お部屋に戻りましょう。お布団で暖かく
Now return to your room and curl back up under your nice warm blanket. Fine.
タケル様、
What, Takaru? What?
いつの間にかずいぶん
When have you gotten muscular, huh?
いえ、なんでもございません。
Forgive me, run along. Seems like I managed to synchronize this time. Tsukiyomi had no idea what I was talking about, so maybe I did sleep in my own bed. And the fact she noticed my physique means we've replicated the same phenomena as the last time. I did it! I think I've become one with my other self. These hands, these legs, they're mine. I made it home and I'm 100% me. That said, I can't say I feel that different from last time, but that's still great news. All these senses are mine, I don't know why, but hey, at least I'm me again. What? Something's written on my hand? My name? Did Yuko do this? Was it so she could tell the two of us apart? But there's only one of us, so... Oh man, this blanket's warm. Man, do I miss this. And my bed this soft? It's so different than the barracks. Yeah, I was just living in the total high life. Oh, I'm home. It's only for 18 hours, but at least I could lie around like this and not worry. I could do whatever I want. I really can't get how over soft this is. Huh?
タケル、起きるのだ。
Just 5 more minutes costing me. Maya. I guess she's already gotten over what happened with Captain Sagiri, huh?
かすみとは何者だ?
Who's Kasumi?
今私をかすみと呼んだであろう。
You just addressed me as Kasumi. Explain yourself. Oh, I didn't even realize. Nobody in my circle has that name.
タケル?
Kasumi, who's that? It must have been half
な
asleep.
るほど。そうか。
So you're babbling then? Yeah, probably so. She didn't buy it. Oh well, looks like she'll be able to figure out who Kasumi is and how she relates to me.
では早く顔を洗ってくるがよいぞ。
In any case, you should hurry and get ready. Breakfast will be ready shortly. Okay, thank you. Well, why are you staring at me like that? Something wrong?
そなたの雰囲気がいつもと違うような。
It seems you are different somehow, unless I'm imagining things. Yeah, you probably are. What, am I really acting that strange?
変というわけではないが。
Not strange, but far more composed. Sharp as ever. No matter what world you live in, you're always the same person deep down. Voice, expression, mannerisms, they're way softer than that of the other world, but you're projecting a familiar aura of strength. I saw the other Maya put her life on the line during the coup, and it feels like I'm talking to the same person. Pretty amazing. I am just sleepy. Sorry. Of course, forgive me. It's fine. Here's your uniform. What are you doing? Oh no, my hand slipped. Are you hurt, Takaru? I'm fine, don't worry about it. And then we have the 3 idiots. They're dumb, and for some reason they get mad when I call them that, but it's the truth. I wish I could show these guys how serious they are in the other world. They're definitely something else. Something's different about him. This is weirding me out. Maybe we hit him in the wrong place? I've got to focus here. If even the 3 idiots can notice how different I am, this must be really noticeable. I gotta start acting like me. What's that sound? It's a sound from another dimension, not because someone's doing work on your front door. Come again? Breakfast is ready. Let's go, Takaru. I don't remember... I remember this. I'm pretty sure Maya was up to something today, and it's suspicious that Tsukiyomi was there before dawn. But they can't seriously be working on my front door. Where's Sumika? Yet to arrive. Why are you looking away? I didn't. Did you do something? I've done nothing to her. To Kagami, huh? So you've done something but not to Sumiko? We will head downstairs. Okay then. Good morning. Now I remember. Remember what? Tsukiyomi, open the front door. Oh dear. Go ahead. Understood. Sumika, it's really you. God, I'm so glad you're not there. I'm so glad you never had to face with that awful war-torn world. Hey, you never opened it up no matter how loud I screamed, huh? I've been screaming this whole time. This is what I remember. Yep, this is what you do best. You're like a pro at taking all my worries and blowing them away. I'm starting to feel like an idiot for getting sentimental a second ago. Well, I couldn't hear you. Why didn't you just cut the chain? Somebody changed the door. Oh, of course. She swapped the entire door, didn't she? Maya, why are you looking away? I'm not. What did you do to the wall? The door and my walls? How'd you know that? You didn't replace them with a prototype, did you? What did you learn of this? Oh, I have my ways. When you came down this morning, oh, how careless of me. Just admit it. Come on. As it happens, I may have used a sound and shock absorbing material currently being used by firms with the financial group. So you're trying to keep Sumika out then. I did no such thing, in fact. I did nothing to Kagami whatsoever. Just a few renovations. Man, you're pretty good at betting the truth. Was this Tsukiyomi's idea? Of course. That's not fair. I don't care if you think we should act more like ourselves. If Mitsurugi keeps acting like herself, I won't be able to do anything.
私は鏡の訪問を断ったつもりはない。家主のタケルが訪問に気づかなかっただけだ。
I didn't intend to prevent you from visiting. I merely made it so Talker would fail to notice if you did. That's playing dirty. That's right. This is what life used to be like. I had no idea how much I took these little things for granted until I lost all of them. I never could have known how precious these everyday things could have been. So I must say, Takaru. Oh, what's up? There's something peculiar about you in your eyes. Huh?
何か睨まれたら逃れられないような緊張感を感じる。
It almost feels as though if you were to glare at me, I would be frozen where I stood. Huh?
私の知る限り、それはよほど精神鍛錬を積んだものか、修羅場をくぐり抜けてきた
From
も
what
の
I've been
だ
told,
け
only
が
those who've
望む
undergone
光
great mental training or experienced severe trauma have glint like that.
今日のそなたは妙だ。
Something's abnormal about you today.
何の話？
What are you guys going on about? It's just imagination. Oh man, you two are too sharp for your own good. I need to get more careful. I can't let myself get emotional over every little thing. I've got to pull myself together. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the ride. That was the finish of the Coup arc. Enjoyed the little earthquake thing. Was very surprised that one happened today. But nature's not going to stop us from playing Muv-Luv Alternative. Thank you guys again so much for everything. Following idea with the heart monitor. Hopefully it was a little bit more accurate tonight. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow as we finish up our time in the parallel world. Thank you guys again. See you back here tomorrow.